EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday bye-week edition here on Birds 365 as the Eagles enter the bye. It's week 9 in the NFL. The Birds are sitting at 6-2, and we got plenty of stuff to recap here, give you our midterm grades, and kind of break it all down as we enter a weekend of football with no Eagles on the TV or happening at the link or anywhere else. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Football Friday, my friend?
Doing well. Trying to get to Tuesday, the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Silly in season trade deadline.
Well, it is silly season, John, and I'm sure I and everybody else knows what you're referring to. The Myles Garrett to Eagles is back, John. We did it in the summer, and it is back here at the trade deadline. John, just before I muddy it, your thought on what you've seen so far and what you know. What report you can add, if any, or credibility, or what's real and what's not out there right now, John?
Well, like I always say with Howie Roseman, everything's real in the fact that you can feel very comfortable as a national person that you can throw the Eagles in the mix with anybody because they're making the call. I mean, The best way I could describe Howie is, his what would upset him if somebody like that got traded and he didn't get involved or understand the market price or something like that, like he was surprised, which is not going to happen. So you're always going to make those phone calls. Now, as far as giving up 3 first-round picks, well, there's a number of things. One, Andrew Berry, let's make this very clear, has said consistently back even during the spring before they work things out, he's not trading. And Andrew was obviously here and sort of understands and has a quote from, at least he did, from Howie in his office, has tremendous respect for Howie Roseman. Basically understands and has tried to carry over the Eagles' philosophy to Cleveland as far as building a team. Now, you got to hit on the quarterback, which they haven't been able to do, and that's been their biggest issue. But so it would be surprising if he were to trade a player like that because he's, arguably the best defensive player in the world and has been there for a long time. And the brilliant thing about Myles Garrett is doesn't matter if you're not having success. He's on a bad team. He's out there getting 5 sacks. He doesn't give up. He keeps playing. He's maybe the most dominant pass rusher in football. He's not. He's right there with Micah Parsons, who the Eagles also tried to get, even though it was silly to even think they could. Because as goopy as Jerry Jones is, he wasn't going to do that.
That's part of the reason, though. I think there's some truth behind this, John. Because this was one of those players that the Eagles would send the house for. They would pay the big money.
Oh yeah. That part of it's not that out of realm.
So you're saying if Myles Garrett were to get traded, and obviously the assumption right now is that Andrew Berry and Cleveland will not trade him, but if he were to trade him, the Eagles would be willing to part with 3 first-round picks. Yes or no?
I mean, if you look at it from the standpoint of it, and really the Cowboys more or less confirmed this to be the case. I believe it was 2 first-round picks, maybe a 3rd-round pick, a late-round pick, and other things. For Micah Parsons. So I think that's the template. I'm sure they try to get it under 3. But remember, the Eagles' philosophy is they're going to be drafting 25 to 32, hopefully 32.
Yeah, right.
Now, I saw someone bring up, there's a lot of layers to this, and this is true. If you look at the Eagles' last picks in that area, Quignon's a little bit out, but he was 22. Nolan Smith was 30. Jahad Campbell was 31. And if you look at, hey, if you trade, would you trade Quinyon Mitchell, Jahad Campbell, Nolan Smith for Myles Garrett? Doesn't look as slam dunkish as it would. But here's where I think that's off base. Like Nolan Smith and Jahad Campbell were both expected to go much higher in their respective drafts. And a lot of teams are scared because their GMs don't have the rope to take a chance. And that's where Howie sort of has that outlier where he can pick the guy that's bowling that should be higher for whatever reason. This year, Campbell was injury related, and say, I'm going to take a shot on this guy. So he's not like a normal 31st pick. And if you're sending that 31st pick to somewhere else, they can't take that same chance. So I don't like the process of looking at, well, look at what the Eagles did with these picks.
Yeah, I don't either, but it is fair to at least put the players there just to give you people an idea of like what that might, you know what I mean? Of
I'm
what
saying is it's not going to happen like that for another team.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be, it shouldn't be their philosophy.
That makes sense. But John, hear me out here. I mean, and again, I get it. Trading Myles Garrett, if you're the Cleveland Browns, sounds to me dumb. The team, as you just mentioned, doesn't have a quarterback situation. Andrew Berry, for all he's cracked up to be, and he learned from the Eagles, and he wants to build it like the Eagles. Well, he hasn't done a very good job of coming close to what the Eagles are. The Browns and the Eagles are two very different football teams, despite Andrew Berry being at the helm for a while. And, John, if they did make that move, let's just call it 3 firsts for right now. That would give the Cleveland Browns 7 first-round picks in the next 3 years. So for a team that needs a quarterback and a team that's probably going to have a top 10, maybe top 5 pick on their own pick, all right, now you got a late first-round pick. You can couple them up. You can get to the number 1 spot pretty easily. Or, go up and get whoever it is you want. From the Browns' perspective, and I'm trying to look at this as objective as I can, it feels like it makes some sense to me because they're so far from being in contention.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any sense for let a player like out the door.
So you don't think it has anything like remember we used to talk about Saquon. Saquon's a great player, but signing him for the Giants made no sense. And again, I know edge rusher is a more important position than a running back, but the team doesn't have a quarterback. Like they're not.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. If you get it right, and you can get it right in a bunch of different directions, whether it's a draft pick.
Well, they don't have a very good track record of getting it right, unfortunately.
Well, no, but all you need is once. Obviously, for many years, the Eagles didn't have a great track record, and they had to go outside the organization and get stopgaps, gaps like Michael Vick. But in between Donovan McNabb, you had the early spike of Carson Wentz, who's a second pick, and then you get a second-round pick, and it wasn't even your plan, and it worked out. So there's a lot, and then we talk about the reclamation projects, the Baker Mayfields of the world. Maybe they shouldn't have let him out the building,
right.
But on the other hand, he might have needed that kick out the building to turn his career around. And the Sam Darnolds, the Daniel Joneses. There's a lot of ways you can go about it, and the point is, it's very easy to turn things around in this league if you get the quarterback right. And, the best example of that is Minnesota last year with Darnold versus Minnesota this year with McCarthy and Wentz. 14-win team to a team that's going to be picking top 10 in the draft again. You can turn, if you have good players elsewhere and you're ready to go and you make the right decision at quarterback, you're ready to go, period. If they had, forget about a star. If they had, with Baltimore starting, now Baltimore's going to run away with that division, by the way.
Yeah, I know too.
If they had competent play at quarterback, they might be in control of that division. That's how quickly it can change in the NFL. But to the point of where the Eagles are going to pick. So, yeah, and again, I bring up, Jahad and Nolan Smith. All right, last year 27-32. Not this year because it's too early, but 27-32. We'll use that. Darius Robinson from Missouri, Xavier Worthy from Texas, Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma, Nate Wiggins from Clemson, who's a guy I like, but let's be realistic. Ricky Pearsall from Florida, Xavier Leggett from South Carolina. That's 27-32. In the real world, that isn't the Philadelphia Eagles that have the rope to maybe take some chances. That's
but they would be loading up their arsenal. I get what you're saying, but it doesn't guarantee that they're going to pick. Hey, maybe.
Well, and if you want to go,
like for one of these reclamation projects that might be out there. I don't know how many are left that aren't settled into where they are now, but maybe they go that route instead of trying to draft a quarterback.
Well, generally you do that in a different way, free agency or whatever. But if you go back to the Nolan Smith year, it's Anton Harrison, Miles Murphy, Brian Breezy, Nolan Smith, Felix Anudike Uzama, and Joey Porter Jr. Okay.
Yeah. No, all right, John. I know Myles Garrett feels untradeable if you're the Browns. Everybody's got a price, and especially the richest people in the world will
I think more of it is Myles. If Myles says, you know what, I'm done with this bullshit. Like the player same thing we could say. Well, then he shouldn't have signed the contract. But same thing we say all the time about AJ Brown. AJ's not going anywhere unless he makes it completely untenable. That's the trump card. That's the trump card a player has. And sometimes they use it. Is this rumor kind of similar to AJ from a sense of the Eagles say they're not trading AJ, but other teams don't believe it yet? Same thing with Cleveland, kind of Andrew saying exactly, we're not trading him, but other teams are like, I'm not sure if you won't trade him. Kind of the same thing there, right? Similar. Exactly. And a lot of people, because that's the way, again, typical organizations do business. They put it out there that we're not trading them, but other GMs work on the history of the league and they know disgruntled guys. And if you reach the offers, there's a goofy, I don't know, because I don't know the person. I never heard of the person, but New England offered a second-round pick for AJ Brown. That's not going to reach the bar of an offer you can't refuse. So yeah, but it's generally coming from outside saying, all right, and then when the case of Myles, the Eagles are on the outside. So it's like, hey, if you are going to move them, and obviously Howie has a very good relationship with Andrew. If you are going to move them, that's where Howie sets himself up.
Right.
I'm willing to go here. I'm willing to do this. So from the Eagles standpoint, I'd give up those 3 picks.
Me too.
In a millisecond. Yeah. It's funny when we go back to the spring and we were talking about Myles Garrett and people are talking, you can't trade Nolan Smith. Now I saw, and I don't want to out the people, but I saw you can't trade Jelix Hunt. You can't trade Tanner McKee for Myles Garrett. Are you people insane?
I might have been guilty of some of that at some point as well, maybe, but that is just ridiculous. I mean, I would do anything to get this. John, what do you think the price is, though? Like, what is the realistic price where you think Jimmy Haslam might step in and say, whoa, we got to think about that. Like, what do you think that would be? Is it 3 1s? It probably isn't, especially if you're the Eagles. Is it 3 1s and Nolan?
If you throw, I think they would want 3 1s because you generally want draft picks more than players. Generally. Now, to the point about Tanner McKee, if you throw a quarterback in the mix, that'll get you down to 2 and Tanner McKee and something else. If they like Tanner McKee, and I have no idea if they like Tanner.
Yeah, but don't we have to wow Andrew right now? He doesn't want to trade him. So we might have to pay a premium.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if they like, because they desperately need a quarterback. So if they like Tanner McKee, and I have no idea if they like Tanner McKee.
How could they not like Tanner Manning?
Well, yeah, there's still some questions there, but you never know what people's evaluation of players outside their respective buildings are. But I use the Myles template, which is pretty much, as I said, confirmed. 2 first-round picks, a 3rd-round pick, a 5th-round pick, and more. they probably want to be in that same realm, and Moore is probably a player or two. And some of they're going to have a roster glut. They have to get rid of some players anyway. But you would think they'd be more meaningful players. And if you bring in Myles Garrett, you don't need. Let's be honest, you don't need Nolan Smith or Jalix Hunt. One of them.
I would get rid of Nolan before I got rid of Jalix, but I understand that Nolan's an injured player and they might want Jalix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I think people are way too high on Jalix at this point.
Well, I do too, but I think you got to keep some young body. You know what I mean? Myles Garrett.
I'm saying I'm saying one of the two, not both. But,
yeah.
And it would be like, which what do they like best? My assumption would be it would be Nolan.
But Nolan was a first rounder. Is he going to be due? I mean, he also might be due a bigger contract soon.
Yeah, well, that factors into it too. The business and the money and contracts factor into it. But yeah, I mean, they've always loved the player. They're in awe of the player. I mean, their love of Myles Garrett is long known. And what's not to love? Again,
it's not entirely BS though, right? Like, because people are like, oh, another Myles Garrett rumor. This isn't entirely BS though, is it? Like they're willing to do. If the Browns wake up on Tuesday morning and say
the same thing as AJ Brown, same thing. They don't want to trade him, and nobody believes it. Same thing the Eagles with AJ Brown. The Eagles say they don't want to trade AJ Brown. I know they don't say it publicly, but that's what they say.
The only difference is the Eagles are 6-2. The Browns are what, 2-6 for crying out loud?
Yeah. Nobody believes the Eagles don't want to trade AJ. Nobody believes that the Browns don't want to trade Myles. And I think both of them are telling the truth, and they don't want to trade. The Eagles don't want to trade AJ, and the Browns don't want to trade Myles. But everybody takes, it's not like somebody calls you and you hang up the phone. You'll listen to what they have to say.
That's why I said if you want to do it, Eagles, you're going to have to wow them. You're going to have to really wow them. You're going to have to make Jimmy Haslam step in and say, Andrew, I don't give a shit what you say. We're taking that deal.
Well, if Andrew's smart, he won't even give Jimmy that chance. But
Howie knows that. Howie will work.
Well, I don't think Howie. There's way too much, but Howie's not going to screw Andrew Berry like that. So
I don't think giving him 3 1s and Nolan is a screw job.
I mean, going over his.
Yeah, I got you.
Going over his head. He's not going to do that. Even though you might have a bit of a wild card there. Yeah.
All right. So what was the report yesterday? It was from Mary J. Cabot, right? She reported it. Is that her name? Mary J. Cabot? Yeah, Mary K. Cabot.
Mary K. I don't know who did it first. I saw it from Charles Robinson first.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw him as well.
But I don't know. It might have been Mary Kay. Mary Kay is very plugged into the
That's what I mean. That's why I was like, that's interesting. Now, I did think she confirmed it, but she also put out last night that the Browns insist that they are not trading Myles.
Zero chance is what she most recently reported.
Anybody it's never zero. All right. It's never zero. But
that's from the team. She's reporting what the team is telling her.
Yeah, but again, like Jeffrey Lurie said in the interview, no, we're not trading AJ Brown, but we're always going to do what's best for the Eagles. I mean, there's a price. There's always a price, John. Always a price. At least.
Well, if you want to go to 5 first-round picks, I'm sure.
No, I'll go to 3. I'll go to 10. I'll go 3 1s. Tanner McKee and Nolan Smith. Goodbye. Done. Don't care.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Later.
I'm shocked. I can't. I can't even get you can't trade Tanner McKee for him. Those people gotta wake up, man. Come
Oh
on.
my God! What would this defense be? Let's just live in
Oh,
fairy tale.
you
God, I
know,
know you don't like to live in fairy tale land very much, but live there for 5 minutes.
well,
What
it's
would this
funny.
defense be with Myles Garrett on the team?
None of these things, history, none of these things work out the way you think they're going to work out. There's notable exceptions, but I mean, on paper, I mean, they're going to win the Super Bowl if he stays healthy.
I agree.
I mean,
That's exactly what I said yesterday. I said you schedule the parade on Broad Street if you get Myles Garrett. I mean, he's the
and
best run stopper and the best pass rusher in football. This guy is rarefied air to the extreme.
yeah, it's very similar. That's what you heard Rick Saratella talking about Micah Parsons, who he had as number one in the NFC when I asked him that question. He picked Green Bay, and he picked Green Bay because of Micah Parsons. Myles is above Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And the beauty of him is, again, like, there's no reason he should be getting 5 sacks in week 8 or week 9 with that moribund team. But he never stops working. He never stops. Got 5 sacks in one game. Eagles fans are obsessed with sacks. The Eagles' whole edge rushing group through 8 games doesn't have 5 sacks.
Is
I don't think they have
Smith, is he still the leader in the edge rushing room? He's been retired for a couple weeks. He might still be the leader in the clubhouse.
I think, does Shell accept you? I don't even know, but
I don't know. Yeah, I know he had 1.5 Zander Smith. So
yeah, I don't think that matters, but yeah, I mean, he makes that go. Would be interesting.
It might not matter, John, but I'll tell you what it does do. It does highlight why maybe we should want Myles Garrett. Yes, he's still the leader in the clubhouse with 1.5 sacks. Patrick Johnson, Jalix Hunt, and Josh Uche are all behind him with 1. That's the outlook on the Eagles' edge rushing room right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen, but yeah.
Darlene says, no, don't care how good he is. No one is worth 3 first-round picks.
Well, similar to all sacks aren't created equal, all first-round picks aren't created equal.
Very true.
Which is why I tried to point out what 27 to 32 has meant historically. You want to talk about a shit show? Go back to 2021. So that was the Aiden Hutchinson draft at the top. Kyle Hamilton, some great players in that draft. So 27 to 32, where the Eagles would be drafting, in theory, Devin Lloyd, Devontae Wyatt, probably the best of the bunch, and he's Cole Strange, Karlaftis is the best of the bunch. George Karlaftis, Daxton Hill, and Lewis Cine, our old buddy Lewis Cine. The bottom of the NFL draft typically is at the bottom of the first round. The hit rate is under 40%. And by hit rate, you're talking about not superstars, you're talking about competent starters.
I think it's more for the Browns. It would be like getting a treasure chest of assets that you can then deploy.
Yeah, then you got to deal with. That's what Jimmy Johnson did way back when he got the farm for Herschel Walker, when running backs were more valuable. It wasn't about the picks that he got. It was about what he did with the picks that he got. He kept flipping them for other assets. So it would be more like that for them, more the asset than the actual player. But I only bring that up because somebody bought, well, they got Jahad Campbell. Yeah, other teams don't act like the Eagles because they can't act like the Eagles. I talk about this all the time because their GMs don't have the rope that the Eagles GM has. So they can't afford to take chances.
The one thing I'm struggling with, John, with this is Why would the Eagles not trade A.J. Brown? Well, that's very obvious. They're 6-2. They're coming off a Super Bowl year. They're a prime Super Bowl contender this year. They're at the top of their division. They're at the top of their conference. Why would you trade A.J. Brown in the middle of the season? That makes no fucking sense. Agreed. If you're the Browns, you're like, I'm 2-6. I don't have a quarterback.
It's not, because what if you get a quarterback next year? You're picking in the top 10.
Yeah, but
what if you get a quarterback?
They've been saying that for 10 years. They haven't got it one yet. Why should I assume this year is going to be different? They got a 30-year-old.
So what you're saying is, and I get it, you want to get the player here. You're taking a defeatist attitude. Andrew Berry can't take it. Well, we didn't find a quarterback here. We made a mistake when I wasn't even here. I'm taking chances on, Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round and Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round and yada, yada, yada. And, my owner gave the worst contract in NFL history out to Deshaun Watson. You can't just go in and say, all right, we're done. We can't find a quarterback.
I get that, but you want to position
yourself. This league is built
yourself still, though, to be able to get that quarterback.
This league is
a couple more 1st-round picks would help you, I think.
This league is built on parity. And if you have good players and you're ready to go and you fight, and again, it doesn't even have to be the superstar. It doesn't have to be Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. It could be Sam Darnold. It could be Baker Mayfield. It can be Daniel Jones. And all of a sudden, you're a contender. I mean, it is legitimate to say that Indianapolis, Seattle, and Tampa Bay are contenders. It's legitimate. I don't believe in Tampa Bay, but other people do, mainly because of the injuries more than anything else.
All right. So if a Pro Bowl level quarterback just appeared on the Cleveland Browns roster, would they be
they're ready to go. They'd win that division. Especially this year.
Yeah. Well, this year maybe, but I don't think they're that good.
With Baltimore getting off to that 1-5 start, they would have already lapped the field, and Joe Burrow getting hurt as well, because Cincinnati would have been better. Pittsburgh has its limitations, obviously, and it's the first place team now. This is the perfect example of if they had any competent play at quarterback, take those 3 guys, take any of them, put them in Cleveland, and
I still think they're the worst team in the division with a competent quarterback. Maybe better than the Bengals, but the Bengals still have the great equalizer in Joe Burrow. I know he's hurt right now.
I'll tell you what, if you look at that team, and I don't know if you've seen Judkins at all, but he's pretty impressive.
He's very good. Yeah, I liked him in college.
I think they're the same as those teams with a quarterback. The NFL is very close parity wise.
I know, but we are talking about a team that has broken the scales of being bad for a long time.
Well, they had little spikes, with some.
They got rid of that quarterback, the guy who led them to the playoffs. They got rid of him. Screw him. Get him out of here.
At one point, they had a very good offensive line. It's kind of fallen off due to age.
Yeah.
But at one point, they had a top 5 offensive line. They had a lot of talent. Jim Schwartz, that was the number 1 defense in the NFL a couple of years ago. Number 1. They got a lot of talent on defense, and it starts with Myles. Yeah, 100%. They're right back in the playoffs if they have. And I'm not talking about Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. I'm talking about Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones. They're in the playoffs. That's how quickly it can change in this league.
Well, I mean, they sent Joe.
So that's the belief, and my belief, and it's based on being around the Eagles, is that simple fact of life. Now, the Eagles have too many good players, but they have that demarcation line I always talk about, where if you're above it, they're keeping you. Doesn't matter what the position, doesn't matter what the situation, they're keeping you. And if, then you have to make some difficult decisions if you have too many good players. And that's what happened with Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, players like that. And then you got to make some difficult decisions. But
if the Browns were willing to take this deal, would the Eagles do it? 3-1s.
Yeah, I think from the Eagles standpoint, I think, yeah, because they look at it like, well, they're going to be even more so. If you get Myles, they're going to be down 28-32. I mean, and that
I can't even.
and that's the difference of, like, you had that comment. I don't give up 3 first-round picks for any. Well, I don't give up 3 top 10 first-round picks for anybody. I agree with that. 28. If one of them's 28, one of them's 32, and one of them's 31, and you're getting Myles Garrett. And by the way, I don't think that gets
they can have whatever they want.
I don't think that gets it done, because Andrew Berry's not dumb and he knows where those picks are going to be as well.
What would it take then? What would it take? What would it take for Andrew Berry to not be able to say no?
I think at least two meaningful players and some extra picks thrown in, like a third round. Like I use that third and a fifth.
So 2 or 3 meaningful players and a third or something.
Yeah, third and a fifth. Throw in a day 3 kicker, because GMs love picks.
All right, I'll go 2 1s, Tanner, Nolan, a third, and a fifth.
Dude, well, again, yeah, you have to like, I don't know if they like Tanner McKee.
Yeah, right,
my perception is
that's for them. They'll figure that out. I mean,
yeah,
what I'm trying to gauge is at what point does the conversation become, because I think it's real. I think because there's people in here who said the Eagles would never trade 3 first-round picks. I think they would if Andrew Berry would make the move.
Yeah, well, I think they would if Myles. Yeah, for Myles Garrett, they would. They already proved it with Micah.
Yeah, they were in them on Micah. I mean, he's that player.
Micah's a little bit younger, but Myles is better. If he keeps himself in good shape, I don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah, I think that dude's going to be a beast till he's 35. But I get it. Father Time waits for nobody. There's no guarantee of
that. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you don't let players like that out of your building unless they force their way out of their building. And I've seen no evidence that he's going to force his way out. So I think it's just other people presume, just like they are with AJ. I don't care what you say. You're going to trade him. It's the perception is outside more than inside.
But it did seem like there was a report that the Eagles were offering 3 1s. No, I mean, that's kind of how I read it. Not speculation of like, hey, this is what the Eagles would send. It was more like the Eagles are offering this. The Browns are still saying no. That's how I read it. But and Mary Kay Cabot, I mean, she's not,
Yeah, well, I don't think there's been any formal offer. So I don't know where that comes from, but from Mary Kay's, and again, she's very plugged in to Cleveland. They have said 0 chance, hasn't even been discussed. So take it for what you will.
Real quick, last note on it, and then we're going to move on. We got plenty of bye week discussion today.
And
guys.
By the way, can I just add one thing?
Yeah,
Howie's in people's heads. I say it all the time. Howie's in everybody's heads. No, it's a good thing for the Eagles. Like, I think all these perceptions come from outside Philadelphia. Oh, Howie's going to do this, Howie's going to do that, because Howie's always running laps around these guys. He's in people's head. That's a good thing for the Eagles. It's a good thing. But as I've said from day one, they love this player. I mean, love it. Well, and what's not to love? You could probably say that about 31 other teams, but they love this player.
Last talk on it real quick, and we're going to turn the page. We're going to do midterm grades. We got a bunch of good stuff planned for today, everybody. We'll take some super chats. We'll get everybody's thoughts on the 6-2 Eagles at the bye week. All right, so hang in there. Contract, does it make we didn't even talk about that, the contract element of it. I know he's making a lot, but honestly, it feels like a bargain after seeing what Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson are making. But how much does that complicate it? I know there is dead money that Cleveland would have to take. Is there a way for the Eagles to offset that? What do you see with that part of it, John?
Yeah, I mean, well, you've seen in trades in the past, something will happen as far as manipulating the contract. But it is a big matzo ball, as Jerry Seinfeld would say. So, yeah, you're presumably if something like that came down, you'd be dealing. And Miles's agent is, by the way, is Jalen Hurts' agent.
Yup.
So,
Nicole Lynn. I know Jalen's calling. Come on, Nicole. Come on, talk to Andrew. We need Myles in Philly. Oh, man.
So I'm sure there'd be some manipulation. But they just signed him to that huge extension, Cleveland. And the dead cap hit for them is just astronomical. So yeah, that's another reason why it's very, 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 very unlikely.
Yeah. Dad said Spot Track did a breakdown of his contract, so I'd have to check that out and see how realistic it is. But probably not, obviously, based on them just paying him. But wouldn't surprise me if Andrew Berry structured his contract similar to Howie in that way too, or it could probably move.
Oh yeah, they do business the exact same way as the Eagles as far, but that's not the problem.
Very different results.
The problem is, because everything ultimately comes down to evaluation, as I always say, and they haven't found a quarterback, so it's very difficult to win in this league without a quarterback.
3 first rounders will help them get that quarterback.
Well, not necessarily, because if you see, and they don't need them, number one, because they're going to be up there on merit.
Well, remember, they have 2 already this year, John, because of the Jacksonville trade. You get another first round pick in this year's draft, you're going to be able to go to anywhere you want on that board.
You're going to have a good launching point, number one. And by the way, it also depends on which quarterback you like. Because there was a lot of hype about this quarterback class coming out of college. That hype has dissipated.
Yeah.
So there's so many factors that go into it. But the dead money, it's highly unlikely. But again, there's always manipulation of these contracts. If somebody's willing, you just saw it with Michael Carter on a very low level, giving up $5 million in injury guarantees. So there's always manipulation you can do, but the contract itself is set up very much like an Eagles contract. You have these huge cap hits down the road, and then 58 million or so in 29 and 30, and obviously by that point you would have to redo something. So very unlikely, but there will be adjustments if something happens, which is not, nobody. And again, you just saw it with Carter. There's no way to predict that kind of stuff and what people are willing to do to get out of a certain situation.
Yep. So real quick, this is what the Spotrac guy put out. Highly unlikely, but trading Myles Garrett, the new team cap hits. 25 would be 1.2 million. 26 would be 8.1. 27 would be 16.1. And then it continues to go up. If you guys can see those numbers, let me see if I can get that. There's those numbers.
And by the way, 29 and 30 are meaningless because you got to redo it.
And then there's the dead cap, John. 20.6 for the Browns this year and 40 next year. I don't know if there's a way to offset that to some extent, but it doesn't feel that crazy to me. But holy mackerel, if this team got Myles Garrett, I will see you on Broad Street.
Yeah, I thought the dead cap was a lot bigger than that. I mean, the dead cap alone, before you look at trades post June 1st, yada yada yada, was 125. So typically that's an Eagles trick, bookkeeping trick. So if you got it down that low, Godspeed to Andrew Berry, by the way. But an example of that's probably another reason why people say maybe they do it. So all of that And I don't even factor in the contract because the Eagles will figure out a way. They just
Me
will.
too. Me too. That's
But
what I always say that.
but what I do factor in is Andrew's not letting that guy out of that building until he makes it untenable. And I've seen no evidence he's making it untenable to move forward.
Well, remember, he thought about making it untenable in the summer. Then they shut him up with a massive contract, and maybe now he's slamming his helmet after 5 sacks. I don't know, John. Maybe it is a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's untenable. Maybe it's not. If anybody's going to make it happen, in my opinion, I think it'd be Howie Roseman. But we will see what ends up happening with it, John. Well, I tell you what, though, him coming here would be unfreaking believable for this football team.
There'd be a little hype along with it.
A little hype. I would give away 50 Myles Garrett jerseys.
Whoa! Listen,
literally, I will go to my guy.
But would you give up Tanner McKee?
Oh my God!
I hope that was a joke. There was a certain, and I have to speak.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was. I think I saw what you're talking about.
I hope that was a joke. I hope that was a joke. But I don't know, man.
I will trade the house for Myles
Like
Garrett.
people were legitimately arguing, you can't trade Nolan Smith for Myles Garrett in the spring. And I would just shake my head. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening with it, Johnny Mac. A lot of good conversation. I bet nothing happens, but if something happens, I think the Eagles will be at the front of it. We will see. Let's go to our super chats here on the topic. Real Zeal says, not all sacks are created equal. What about pressures? Next Gen and PFF definition of a pressure rewards a pressure regardless of the play result as long as the QB's timing or pocket is disrupted.
Real Zeal is obsessed with proving sacks are bigger than pressure. First of all, if you listen, Real Zeal, I say all sacks are not created equally. I said all pressures are not created equally. Guess what? The pressure that Jalen Carter had in Minnesota is bigger than the pressure that you're talking about, the normal just moving the quarterback off the spot. The biggest pressure of all in recent Eagles history, Chris Long, also against Minnesota in the NFC Championship game. The Patrick Robinson pick six. Did you like that one, Real Zeal? Yes, pressures are all different. But as I said, when we were comparing Jordan Davis to Moro Ajomo as pass rushers for some reason yesterday, when you have a significant pressure percentage, that is a clear indication that you are a better pass rusher than a guy who doesn't have a significant pressure rating. And that is going to show up over a larger sample size as you being the better pass rusher. It is a more valuable statistic, but it is not a perfect statistic. Sacks are a less perfect statistic than pressure percentage.
Yeah.
But they both, there's holes in everything.
Here's Zeal. He follows up. 9 times out of 10, a sack is better than a pressure. They're both important plays. I mean, if you get a pressure on a quarterback, what are the
where is your evidence, Real Zeal, instead of just saying something? 9 out of 10 times. Think about what you're saying. Jordan Davis, you're all excited. This fan base is all excited by Jordan Davis has 3 sacks. 1 was for no gain, 2 was for no gain or 1 yard loss, and I forget the third one. I mean, where is the evidence? 9 out of 10 times. What are you watching? A Dentyne commercial or a dentist? 9 out of 10. I'm not going to say sacks are just making shit up.
I'm not going to say sacks aren't important to Zeal, but listen to the greatest quarterbacks talk about pressure.
I have said sacks are never a bad thing. I've said that consistently. Pressure percentage is a better indication of a good pass rusher than sacks because sacks are less. And again, you don't have to listen to me. Go listen to Chris Long, who did it for a long time. You have to look at every sack. Sometimes Fletcher Cox ran the guy into Chris Long and he got the sack and he was like, thanks, Fletch. pass rush is very similar to the offensive line. Good pass rushers. It is a unit situation. Now, occasionally you get guys like Myles and Micah who are just phenomenal on their own. But even that, you don't want them to freelance, because then you especially in the modern era, you let some of these mobile dual threat quarterbacks out. And if you're not disciplined, all of a sudden they're making big plays outside the pocket, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, look, you can't just throw out shit because you want it to be true. 9 out of 10 times. Yeah, all right. Give me your methodology, Real Zeal.
Let's move on. Nick Marchetti said, Nick, I love you, but this is the most Eagle thing I've ever read in my life. 2 1s, Nolan and Dean. Take our 2 perennial injured players and toss them in the deal for Myles Garrett. That's classic.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd rather send, I don't think that's going to get the job done at all, by the way. But if 3 1s isn't getting the job done,
well, first of all, it's Nolan's complicated by the fact he's not even back yet.
Yeah, he's injured.
Yeah.
And Dean has, obviously the injury history that he has.
Yeah.
That's why I wonder if Jalix might even be a little bit more valuable to Cleveland. Well, they probably don't look at him as very good.
Yeah, I don't think they're evaluating him at a high level.
You don't think they're putting a very high value on Jalix?
Not at this stage. Not at this stage.
All right, good stuff. Here's Vitality. What's up, Vulnerable? You may have already mentioned it, but would you trade Nolan, Quignon, and we talked about this. Nolan, Quignon, and Jihad for Myles Garrett. No guarantee those next 3 first-round picks will be as good. No, John talked exactly about that.
Yeah. The Eagles
about the treasure chest, though.
First of all,
they're going to have 7 first-rounders in 3 years. They're going to be able to go and trade for and go and move around the draft board however they want. Well,
I'm sure that's the selling point. Unfortunately, you're dealing with a smart guy who runs his organization like Howie. And again, you can point out, well, he doesn't run it as well. Yeah, the results haven't come yet, but they're the same as the Eagles. Believe in the process. If you do the right thing, eventually it's going to turn your way. Now, he might be fired before it turns his way, but that's his belief. So he's not gonna just bail on that belief. I don't think.
If Howie Roseman was 2-6 right now, though, I like to think Howie would be like, I need the 7 first-round picks.
Yeah, well, Howie would, if he was 2-6, he'd definitely be a seller. But I don't think he'd be selling Jalen Carter. And this is, let's be honest, if you want to be in this is Jalen Carter times 10. I don't think he'd be.
Can you imagine though Myles Garrett with Jalen Carter on the same D line?
It wouldn't be good. I'll tell you what, the rest of the NFL would be pissed off that Andrew Berry gave them to the Eagles.
They would.
But that doesn't matter to the Eagles, obviously. He wouldn't be giving away his best players. But yes, to your larger point, yes, he'd be trying to accumulate picks, but again, not at the expense of giving up, because everybody's got I say that all the time. Even the worst teams have really good players, and this is a perfect example of it. You don't give up your best players.
Here's Bird Gang. I remember arguing how important BG was when his pressure numbers were really good compared to his sacks. There's a good one there. Brandon Graham, great comp actually. Only had one double-digit sack season in his career.
Yeah, a lot of people. And it's interesting he brings, because Brandon's career in many ways has framed my thinking, because he was always underappreciated by people outside the league. And again, when we used to have opposing conference calls with the coaches, every single guy brought up Brandon and Fletcher first, either 55 and 91 or 91 and 55. Every single offensive coach would bring those 2 guys up for years and years and years. And outside the building, all they talked about, because of the low-hanging fruit, well, he doesn't have double-digit sacks, so he's not a great player. He was a freaking great player, Brandon Graham, in his prime.
All right, good stuff there, Johnny Mac. I want to get into some of the bye week discussions that we're going to have here on the show. They are 6-2, John, at the bye. They have a 2.5 game lead in the NFC East. I don't think anybody's catching them, to be frank with you. And I think they're really in a good spot right now. Obviously, there's plenty of stuff to talk about. Let's start with the injury updates, John, just at the bye week here. Couple people have been injured. This has been a more injured team than we remember early in the year here. You know, A.J. Brown obviously missed week 8 with the hamstring injury. Cam Jurgens has been banged up. Landon Dickerson has been banged up. Zadarius Smith retired. Brandon Graham comes out of retirement. A lot of injury stuff going on the team right now. What to you is the most concerning going into the latter half of the year?
Injury-wise, Nolan Smith would be my biggest concern. You know, they didn't have to start his practice window, but they could have started his practice window before the bye. Now, we had always, because it's 21 days, so if you want to get him ramped up to play against Green Bay, you know, getting him back into practice, understanding that, hey, we're going to wait till after the bye seems to be a good idea. Now they could show up next week and just activate it, and he might be ready to go on Sunday. But until I see it, I can't believe it because, you know, Jacorian Bennett has his practice window activated. Darius Cooper had his practice and actually played in the game. You know, why not Nolan? It's fair to say, like, you know, if they need him, now they have Carter, so we'll see. You know Jacorian Bennett's going to be activated for the Packers game. You know Brandon Graham's going to be activated for the Packers game. I don't know if Nolan Smith is going to be activated for the Packers game.
Yeah, never opened his window up.
So, you know, there's still and the long-term issues. He's had a lot of problems, you know, with his shoulder that he's talked about, and now he's got a triceps tear in the Super Bowl, and he re-affected that same triceps. You know, and again, when he does show up, whenever that is, he's still going to be pulling and banging against 320-pound offensive tackles, which makes you more susceptible to hurting that triceps yet again. So that would be the one I'd be most concerned about. But that, you know, compared to other teams, that's nothing. You know, look at San Francisco. They're devastated every year. Nick Bosa torn ACL. What did Fred Warner do?
I don't know, but I know he's out for the year. So,
but he's out for the year. You know, they're still better off than 90% of the NFL teams out there, injury-wise.
Yeah, good stuff there with some of the injuries. John, I know we just talked for 45 damn minutes about trading, but it is the trade deadline on Tuesday, and based on what you just talked about with some of the weaknesses on the team and some of the maybe the injuries that might be concerning to the Birds, they obviously made the trade this week for Michael Carter, the nickel corner. Do you think they make another move, barring the Myles Garrett conversation? You think they make another move, and where do you think it would be on this roster right now? Edge?
Well, I think they'll make 2 moves, I said. So that's where my thought, and obviously Edge is a big part of it, as we're talking about Myles Garrett. I don't know if they want, you know, to me, it's obviously you want the splash and, you know, talked about it, even though it was not worth talking about it with Micah and Myles. You know, do they want an Arnold Ebiketie? Probably not. And how much better is that going to make you in the short term? Chubb, to me, would be the one guy. And Miami looked like just a dead team again last night. I mean, they might be in the selling business. So that'd be the one guy that I think could help you. That's not a star. but he's good. He's going to make you better, and he's going to make you better. And Phillips to a lesser degree as well. He's got more. They both have some injury concerns, but he's got more. Those would be the two that I would say. Well, those guys could help you, not quite as much as Myles, but those guys can help you. So I would still put that on the table. They made their cornerback move. I don't think it's going to be that meaningful.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make another move. And at some point, they have too many bodies at corner now. They have too many bodies at edge rusher. But you need a good body. Not that those can't be good.
I'm done with these middling trades. It's like, and by the way, the other part of it, I mean, John, it feels like there's been two big rumors of the Eagles now this year, and both of them are players that are elite status. Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. This comes after what you have dubbed successfully, I will remind you, the Temu offseason. They went cheap everywhere, but they're willing in these conversations for these players that are literally the highest paid players outside of quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, it's almost like they waited for these trades to happen, or they were maybe,
well, because again, they believe in getting good players in the building. And when I say good players, I mean great players.
Yeah.
I don't
mean
mean
you're going to trade multiple ones.
They will pay great players, whatever it takes. And then you got to have, the demarcation line, which I talk about all the time. And you got to make difficult decisions on the Milton Williamses of the world, the Josh Sweats of the world, the Dallas Goederts of the world, who had to take a pay cut. You got to make difficult decisions on those guys who are really, really good, but they don't reach the level of greatness. The guys who reach the level of greatness in their minds, they pay. The Lane Johnsons, the Jordan Mailatas, the Saquon Barkleys at his position. They pay those guys. And they would pay the Micah Parsons and the Myles Garretts. They have no problem paying those types of players. Zero problem, to use Mary Kay's. Zero.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they end up doing here, and we'll see about the injuries. Eagles have dealt with a little bit more injuries here than we're used to them dealing with, but welcome to life in the NFL. It happens, and it's part of maybe playing into that Super Bowl year, where you play much longer and you have a shorter
I'll tell you what, a positive, Landon looked very good against the Giants.
Yeah, he did.
So maybe he's rounding into form. Say, how do you get healthier while playing? You can. And he seems to be getting healthier. Farther off the knee, farther off the ankle, farther off the back. And he looked like his old self almost against the Giants.
Good stuff there. Another big super chat here from our boy Alexander. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Another $50 banger, as my boy NJ Fishing calls them. I like that name for super chats, a banger. He gives a $50 super here. He says, good morning to the crew. Can we please stop these rumors from the media, not you guys, that the Eagles are giving up 3 first-round picks for Garrett? That doesn't even sound like Howie at all. I don't know, Alexander. You might be wrong, my friend.
Yeah, like I said, the Eagles are operating under the impression that they would all first-round picks, Alexander, are not created equal.
Yeah.
As I said, if these were top 10 picks, yes, they're not giving up 3.
Alexander, John wouldn't lie to you. John, if the Browns are willing to do it for the 3 ones, you think the Eagles would do it, right?
Yeah. If that were it, and I don't think that would be it, because the Browns are smart too. Andrew learned under Howie. He knows where those picks are going to be, and if they get Myles Garrett, they're even lower. So if you want to, and I use 27 to 32, So make one of them 32, make one of them 31, make one of them 28 even. Yeah, I mean, the value's not there. When you compare it to what would be coming back. And that's why I don't think the Browns would do it, to be honest.
Me neither. Alexander, thanks for the super chat, brother. I do think there's some, I don't know. It feels far-fetched, but it's not like it's only aggregation from social media. There are some real people talking about it, obviously. So we will see. I don't think they'll part with them, but they're 2-6. I mean, I don't know. I get where John's coming from, but I don't know what they're holding on for dear life to a 30-year-old edge rusher for. Maybe because he's their only avenue to relevancy at any point is that people still want to watch Myles Garrett.
Because it's a first ballot Hall of Fame player,
know,
and you don't let those guys walk out the door.
I get that, but they're the Cleveland fucking Browns. They suck. They suck again.
Imagine if
every year of his tenure, basically, except for one playoff year.
Be honest, Zander. Do you think a GM can operate like you're saying? Like
no,
we suck.
you're right. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. But you always say this, Tom. What's the one thing you always say, and you're so right about it? What's one of the hardest things for an NFL GM to do?
Well, you got to be honest with yourself.
Be honest.
But, if you're being honest, if Andrew's being honest with himself, and I'm sure he is, he knows he's a quarterback away. And if he's not, if he trades Myles Garrett, he's not just a quarterback away. You're making it more difficult to yourself. A quarterback away from not being a Super Bowl team, a legitimate contender, playoff contender. He's a quarterback away. He is a quarterback away.
They don't have great skill position player. I know they got the running back, Keyshawn Judkins, but outside of him, I mean, then Jerry Judy's their top wideout, I think. I mean,
I'll tell you what.
Joe Flacco, he looked like a pile of dog water. He goes to Cincinnati. And
I'll tell you what. I saw them here, and they looked every bit as good as the Eagles, except for the 5 or 7 players at the top of the roster. In fact, you could argue better. They outplayed the Eagles. They outpracticed the Eagles. I had the opportunity to see them up close. They got a lot of good players on that team, like every NFL team.
I mean, they do have a great defense, obviously, as Curtis is pointing out in the chat, but,
Yeah, Jim, I mean, the Eagles couldn't cover Harold Fannin. They couldn't cover him. And Njoku's insane, his athleticism. I don't think anybody can match up with that guy. Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio are still high-level players. Yeah, I think you're underappreciating what Cleveland has. But it's no different than anybody else. And Judkins looks like
I might be underappreciating Cleveland, John. Maybe it has something to do with them being 2-6 again, or maybe it's the 30 years that they haven't had a fucking quarterback since Bernie Kosar.
That's fine, but you that's not how you operate. You're going to lose your job.
No, you're right. You're not wrong.
I'll say this. If you want to look at PFF, and again, I feel like I always got to give the caveat. Believe what you want to believe. Dylan Gabriel, 37 quarterbacks. He's 37th. 37 out of 37. They have brutal quarterback play. I think if you look at Minnesota with Carson Wentz, and they're the perfect example, and J.J. McCarthy, they went from a 14-win team with good quarterback play to a disaster top 10 in the draft pick team, maybe top 5 by the time it's done, all because they made the poor decision at the quarterback position. I'm not saying Cleveland has a 14-win roster, but they have a 10-win roster if they get a damn quarterback. And I'm not talking about Lamar Jackson, who was stepped off whatever the hell he was dealing with and looked like Lamar Jackson again last night. I'm talking about Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones or
the reclamation project that they let out the door.
Or the reclamation project they let out the door, correct. But, I mean, that's 18 regimes ago. And that's another problem with that situation.
Yeah.
And by the way, people could say that, Sam Darnold wouldn't be Sam Darnold if he didn't go through what he went through in New York and Carolina and everybody else. Same thing with Baker. Same thing with Daniel Jones. He wouldn't be the player if he is today if he didn't go through what he went through with the Giants.
Well, speaking of those regimes, John, Andrew Berry's going to be out the door if he doesn't fucking turn that thing around pretty quick. So,
well, but then you don't trade your best player then.
Well,
simple as that. That's a bad way of doing business, and I guarantee you, he wasn't taught that by Howie Roseman.
Who knows what happens? Here we go. A couple more super chats on this topic. Alexander says, so at 30 years of age, do you think Myles Garrett is really worth 3 firsts? Like, I get all first-round picks aren't equal, but at 30, is it really worth it?
Well, if it gets you 2 Super Bowl titles, is that worth it?
Fuck.
3 first-round picks. 3 middling, not even middling, 3 late first-round picks. Now, again, I can't guarantee. I can't.
People are thinking about what our defense would be like with Myles Garrett.
I can't guarantee you. It would be interesting if Vic made him drop, by the way, but that's another discussion.
He's good at everything. That's the thing I love about him.
I don't know if he'd be good at that.
Well, he is 6'5".
I don't think Vic would do that, but anyway, yeah, you can't guarantee anything, but this would set up the Eagles for multiple Super Bowl titles. And people can say they're set up for it now. And they are. They're one of the legit Super Bowl contenders. And I don't think there's a lot of them. I think in the latest, not that betting odds matter, but the latest, I think they're 5th or 6th to win the Super Bowl. If they get Myles Garrett, they're 1. Make no mistake about it. Yeah. They're 1. Again, that's not guaranteeing anything, but that puts yourself in a better position to win multiple Super Bowls, which I think is the goal.
Myles Garrett, Ajomo, Carter, Davis, Quinyon, Cooper, Zach Bond. Are you guys kidding? This defense would be insane. And John, by the way, credit to you. You've been on this edge rusher thing literally from the beginning of the summer when we talked about it. You've been on this edge rusher thing. And you're right. Our edge rushers have been so shitty this year.
Yeah, well, Josh has been pretty good, to be honest. Josh but as a rotational
collective whole is what I mean.
Yeah. As a rotational player, obviously, he's been pretty good. As a whole, it hasn't been a great group. Yeah. And Howie knew that. Mm-hmm. He's trying to cobble it together. And again, I get his philosophy from, am I really going to give up a decent asset for an Ebiketie type of blah, blah, versus a superstar is a different conversation.
Yeah.
And Myles is a superstar. Like it's
short answer, though, to Alexander is yes, it's worth it, right?
Yeah, where the Eagles are going to pick, yes. I mean, yes. And again, I don't like that comparison because other GMs can't operate with the same freedom as Howie Roseman.
I think is actually good context by you. But here's Big Trag. He says, did John confirm they are interested? I think we've answered that many times, but they are interested, right, John? They're always interested. That's the point. I mean, it's kind of
that's the low-hanging fruit of the NFL. So, Zach, I think Zach put out a great tweet, and I'm trying to read his tweet because this is the best explanation. I'm trying to find it that I've ever heard, and he did it better than me. So I hat tip to Zach Berman. So this is Zach. I remember early in my time covering the team and looking into whether the Eagles had interest in a player. The message that was conveyed to me, if you want news, find the players Howie Roseman isn't interested in. Roseman's nightmare is somebody getting moved and Roseman didn't know he was available or didn't know the price. That, to me, is the best, what I've tried to impart a million times on this show. He's always involved. Always. Well, now, I've compared this Myles Garrett situation very similar to the Eagles situation with A.J. Brown. It's all outside the building. It's all outside of Cleveland. It's other people looking at what Zander is saying. They're 2-6. They're a disaster. Why do they need the 30-year-old edge rusher? Let's try to take advantage of the Cleveland Browns. And it's a little bit different from the standpoint of AJ here, where it's people outside are saying he's not happy. He clearly wants out. Let's take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, well, I just don't see him competing at all in the next couple of years. So for me, it's like I get it. You don't want to trade a Hall of Fame player, but your team is 2-6, and you're not competing, in my opinion, at all in the next 3 years.
Well, that's how other people are thinking when they call. They're saying let's prey on the bad Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, I think Andrew's pretty sharp. There's other GMs where I think you could prey on. I don't think he's one of them.
Here's Corporate B Pumper. I don't know why he changed his name to Corporate B Pumper. He says, no thanks on Myles. Too expensive, and he didn't stand on his nuts in the offseason. You can't request a trade, bid farewell, and then re-sign. Sorry. Enjoy Cleveland. Okay, Pump. Another bad take by you. You wouldn't trade for Myles Garrett. Really, Pumper? Is that the hill you want to die on today, Pumper? Holy shit.
Well, there's a lot of people who, for GMs, the most difficult thing.
We didn't know. Myles Garrett changes this team instantly. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, and that's the quote, and I'm paraphrasing. That's the quote. And by the way, Andrew had in his office, I don't know if it's still up there, but it was in a paraphrasing. Howie said, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you got to make at least one decision that can get you fired. In other words, you got to be bold. You got to go against the grain. You got to go to something maybe somebody outside will say, oh, that's stupid. And now it's easy for Howie to say because he ain't getting fired, but it's a lot harder for the other guys. But anyway, he had that quote in his office. Yeah. I don't know if he still has it, but he had it in there.
He does have a no trade clause, by the way, too, Myles Garrett. So, like you said,
John, he'd come here
if he really that's what I mean. If he really wanted, he could force his way. He could force his way. But we're not.
He would definitely not object to coming here.
No, he's been talking about playing here for a long time. Myles Garrett. It was years ago. He said, "Oh, I could see myself playing in Philly." Myles dreams of rocking that Eagle green as much as B Pumper doesn't want to see it happen. All right. Good stuff there. All right, Johnny Mac, take a quick commercial break here. And then when we come back, we're going to do midterm grades, everybody. So we're going to grade the offense, defense. We'll get into some specific players. We'll also look at some of the replacements this year that we talked about all summer, replacing some of the guys we lost in the offseason. How are they grading out in their first year of being a starter or a bigger role on the football team? So we're going to do all that coming up. Appreciate everybody here. All super chats we will get to. So if you have a super chat for the last 45 minutes of the show, we will get to it. Keep dreaming, everybody, of Myles Garrett. I know I am. Myles Garrett and Eagle Green. I'll see you on Broad Street in February. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Football Friday bye-week edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. You can give us follows on X at Zander Krause and at JF McMullen. Appreciate everybody being here. Don't forget to think about becoming a member. We have plenty of jersey giveaways that we will do this year, and we've already done quite a few. I think I'm up to 25 giveaways so far already this season. Not all jerseys, but a bunch of giveaways we've done this year. We got plenty more. So you can become a member on the YouTube channel by clicking join, or you can go to jakibsports.com and become a member there for some extra entries in that. Appreciate you guys being here. Hit the like button on the show today. I'd like to get to 200 plus likes again, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already. John, midterm grades, my friend. We are at 6-2 at the bye week. Just about smack dab in the middle of the season at halftime of the Packer game. We will officially be halfway through the regular season for the Eagles. I want to talk about some midterm grades. Before we do that, we'll go broader first. Let's go midterm grade, John. Let's start offense. And just kind of give me your midterm grade on the offense as a whole. We'll talk about some specific players, but your offense as a whole midterm grade.
Boy, that's tough. I wish we started with the defense.
If you want to
start, I think the expectations, that doesn't matter. I think the expectations clouded. Like I try to come into the season like it's a blank slate. And if it were, I'd give them like a B. But the expectations like really lower that dramatically. And I think maybe some of those expectations are all base, as I've kind of explained throughout the weeks. You know, this assumption that they should score 30 points, 35 points a game, you know, historic numbers. There's never been any evidence of that. So I think that knocks it down to probably a C. But I think overall, they're a lot like most NFL offenses, but on the good side, in that their high points are very good, but they have the low points as well, and people think they shouldn't have the low points. I've come to the conclusion that, hey, you know what? Maybe they should have the low points like everybody else.
Feels like they are lower than normal. You know, like 0 completions in the second half, just like.
Well, those outliers, but again, see, I think, you know, technically their numbers are better than last year's offense, passing the ball pretty significantly.
Yeah, Galen's having a really good passing year. I mean, numbers-wise, he is.
Now, obviously, the running game is down from the historic levels. So, and that's been the issue as they try to figure out the adjustments, plus the other teams on the field. So, you know, they have made it their number one priority to stop the running game. And I think that's with the Eagles, that's more than Saquon. It's also Jalen and his impact on the game. And that's been their number one goal. And I think that the last 2 weeks, the Eagles have kind of figured it out with the more play action, the more traditional play action, the more heavy packages, getting Fred involved. They figured a way to counter it, and now we're going to see coming out of the bye if other teams and good teams, Green Bay and Detroit to start, have looking at that film and saying, all right, they're doing this. Now we have to counter and do something. So it's going to be interesting. It's always a human chess match, but I think expectation wise, it's a C. I think if you had a clean slate and you didn't know they were Super Bowl champions, you just woke up and you'd say that's a B compared to contextually everybody else.
So can I meet in the middle and go C plus? Is that fair?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can go D. You can go, some people have such high expectations, they think it's terrible,
Yeah, but don't you think it's not like I get the expectations come into it, but a lot of expectations, John, are created by personnel, are created by past success, are created.
I mean,
they are the most expensive offense in football.
I always bring up the Joe Torre Yankees because I'm a Yankees fan. Look, there's nothing wrong with having high expectations.
Yeah,
their expectation was
the most. You had high expectations. That's kind of my thought on the Eagles' offense. I don't think all the expectations are unfair or even jaded by the Super Bowl.
Well, their expectations, I think, are a little bit unfair from the perspective that yes, they won the Super Bowl, but they didn't win the Super Bowl the way people think they won the Super Bowl. I think at least a lot of people. Like, again, where's the evidence that this was ever a high-flying offense? A Peyton Manning Broncos offense, a greatest show on turf offense, that they should score 33, 34 points a game. Where's that evidence? It never happened. That was just people's perception that should happen because, well, they have great receivers. They have a great tight end. They have a great offensive line. They have a great back. They have a great quarterback. So they should be that. But they never were that because they play a different style, which is based first and foremost on the running game, and having I use the term unique quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts, by the way, is having a very good year. Very good year. Tremendous, way better than last year.
How would you midterm grade Jalen Hurts? B plus?
Yes. I'm not going to give him an A, but yes. I think he's playing much better than he played last season. Much better. Now, the offensive line has not played as well. Saquon has not played as well. A bunch of guys haven't played as well. But I think, and I get it. They're the outliers. Where was it? Tampa, where he didn't complete a pass in the second half. The first half against the Rams.
Yeah.
There have been these awful stretches. But again, because they won the Super Bowl does not mean there weren't awful stretches last year. There were awful stretches. Carolina, Baltimore. He tends to, make a play.
Yeah, and you're right when you add the context. Part of that is, look around the league. Everybody has down week, you know what I mean, or down weeks or down moments. Yeah, you're not going to be riding the high forever. All right, good stuff then on the offense. John, real quick before we go into some of the individual players, defense broadly, no specific player here. How would you kind of grade them out through the first years, including, I like your conversation about expectations. If you had a clean slate, that's a little bit tougher to do on the defense because of all the changes that they had from a defense that was number one overall. Yeah. I think the Eagles in the defense might be even muddier than the offense because of how good they were last year and then how many changes they had. Where are you on the defense?
Yeah, well, I give the defense a bigger curve to grade on because I expected them to be worse. I expected them to have significant growing pains because of the changes that you mentioned. And they have to a certain degree, but I think for the most part, they played better than I expected, except for the Giants game, the one outlier. But yeah, I've been very impressed with the defense and the fact that what they've been able to accomplish without some of the parts they lost. We start with the edge rushers, which are not great on paper. The cornerback 2 situation, which has been not great. Playing a rookie safety, which has been uneven, as Vic Fangio called it, and its impact on Reed Blankenship, at least according to Vic. I think Jihad has been great as a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that looks like it's heading in a negative direction. I think Morrow's been great. I think Jalen Carter has not, but he's still an immense presence.
That's more about his expectations, right? He's still been great, but for Jalen Carter,
I don't think he has been great from the standpoint of what he should be. I think that's fair to say. But I still think he's the most talented player on the defense. He's the guy who gets game planned for, and his impact on other players is still there. But I don't think he's playing up to his standard, and he'd be the first to admit that, by the way. But I think you saw some signs of it against the Giants. So overall, similar B, maybe a B minus because they don't have as much talent as the offense, but they still have significant talent. I mean, Carter's great from a talent perspective. Bond's great. Campbell's great. Mitchell's great. DeJean's great. That's a lot of good players. You know, they still have a lot of good players on defense. But the issue is, you know, Ringo, Adoree', Makuba, Hunt, Patrick Johnson's getting, you know, representative playing time, which shouldn't be, you know, it's not the best case scenario. You know, there's some holes, but I think the sum of is greater than the parts on defense, and the sum is lesser than the parts on offense.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Where would you grade out the defense then? You might have said it, I might have missed it. C plus? Where would you be?
I'm going B minus probably.
Right, I'm good with that. I'm kind of in the same ballpark there. John, I'm going to look a little bit individually, but before I do that, I'll go to the coordinators. Patullo is obviously new on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of conversation about Patullo all year. Where are you on Kevin Patullo and how you would analyze his first year as the play caller of this offense?
Yeah, a lot of good. I think the red zone stuff has been tremendous, especially a lot of creativity in the red zone, that stuff you haven't seen before with Dallas Goedert, finally taking advantage of his abilities in a condensed area. So I think there's been a lot of good from that perspective. I think it's been difficult for them to get layups when things go bad, but that's been a long-term problem with this team. And I don't know where it stems from, because we're through 4 offensive coordinators, 4 play callers. It's been a consistent problem. You know, is it the quarterback? Is it the play callers? Is it Nick Sirianni? Whoever you want to blame it on. They have a real difficult when things are going poorly. Like, where's the? And I say this all the time. All I did every day at training camp was watch a million throws to Will Shipley in the flat. Why not throw it to Will Shipley in the flat and see what happens when you need a layup? And you know, when things are going bad, you have these 3 and outs in a row, or no completions in the the thing about no completions in a half of football. Like, how is that even possible when you can throw a swing pass or a bubble screen or even a little flip forward? If you want to give it to Xavier Gibson, you know, how is that even possible? They gotta do a better job getting the layups. The biggest improvement offensively for the Philadelphia Eagles is how they've handled the blitz, which has been top of the league. It's funny how the NFL, you fix one issue and then something else leaks. It's like being a homeowner with an old house. You fix something and something else on the other end starts giving you trouble. And they fixed the issues with the blitz, and now they can't throw it against zone defenses. It's like bizarre. The NFL has a way of, I don't know, putting you in your place. So overall, I think there's a lot of good. I think it'll keep getting better. I think they really got something with these heavy looks with Fred and the play action. Jalen has proven that he can at least do it at a level where he feels comfortable with it. And that enables you to do a lot of different things with the running game. So yeah, I think it's far more positive than has been portrayed. Excuse me. With Kevin Patullo.
I agree. I think the best part about Patullo so far this year has been the red zone. I mean, that's not easy to do, John. That's typically the hardest part of the field to be successful. And the fact that he has a knack for that early is definitely a good sign. And I think he's getting a little, he's finding his way. I think you're right about a lot of the conversation where people sometimes go too far in the play caller. But I do think there is a learning curve, when you're a first-time play caller, of learning your quarterback tendencies, what to do where. And I think he's picking up on some of that better. I understand. I don't know what the intent of each play call is, but it looks like to the eye that's what's happening with Patullo. I'll remain optimistic that he continues to get better and him and Jalen get more comfortable together. John, I want to look at some of the players who replaced some of the guys we lost. Moro Ajomo. Somebody we talked about a lot in the offseason, John. How do you see his year so far this year?
Yeah, I think he's having a great season. Exactly what the Eagles wanted, stepping up in that sort of role, and he's playing a lot of snaps. He's getting a lot of pressure. He's doing exactly what they need him to do. And I think that's only going to improve as Jalen Carter gets back to his normal status. So, I mean, the Eagles' pass rush this year has been basically all interior, basically all Jalen and Moro Ajomo. And they've done a good job for the most. Moro even more so compared to expectations, of course. I'm not comparing Moro to Jalen Carter, but for what was expected of him, he's having a better season than Jalen Carter is having. So I think it's been all positive for Moro Ajomo.
Yeah, me too. I think he's been awesome, and I'm happy about that. I know we debated him a lot in the summer. I don't think he's quite been Milton Williams, but he's been close enough as a 7th round pick in his 3rd year. I think another year of
yeah. I mean, great story too.
Yeah, I really like Moro Ajomo. I don't know him personally, but just from what I've heard of him, just seems like a smart, genuine dude, and with a great work ethic, which I appreciate.
It's definitely smart. I think he went to Texas at 16, got into college at 16. Yeah, he's really smart. That's, the Eagles pride themselves on finding high IQ players. He's very cerebral, very smart player. But he's, tremendous athlete. I think the biggest question with Moro was, can you take advantage of him in the running game? Because he's got to play significant number of snaps. And right now he's been holding up well enough there as well. To the point where you say the Eagles might lose him to a big contract in after next season.
Well, it's like one of those good problem things to have. If you told me, John, that the Eagles would let 2 defensive linemen walk out the door, to the tune of $25 million plus because they were that good, I would tell you you're crazy. The Eagles don't let D linemen walk. But when you got so many of them, it makes a little bit more sense. So it is a credit to them.
I don't see the next one, though. That's the problem.
Ajomo?
Well, I don't see the next in line to be the next.
Right.
Milton,
you mean Ajomo was there to let Milton go. Who's going to replace Ajomo?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I don't know. Then maybe they go for that in the draft. I don't think it's Ty Robinson, or at least it doesn't look like it at this point.
Not yet. Not yet.
No, we will see. John, also out the door last year was Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers. I'm not going to put one player here. I'm just going to go cornerback 2. It's I saw somebody, I think it was Greg Cosell, the law firm of Jackson, Ringo, and Bennett, the law firm holding down cornerback 2. Post Slay, post Isaiah. How do you view that position? How would you grade that after the first 8 weeks?
It's been an issue. I think, Ringo has had the best stretches when he's been out there, but he's had some egregious stretches as well. And I don't know if it's good stretches, because I've been, I keep shaking my head, specifically the Tampa game and the Giants game, the second Giants game. It's like they didn't attack him. So I don't know if those high points are legitimate or just bad football by the opposition. Because Sam Baker was throwing it at Quignon. It's like, what are you doing, dude? And the same thing with the Giants, and Jackson Dart is a younger quarterback, maybe doesn't fully understand the situation. Plus, they don't have receivers. That factors into it as well. But I've been very surprised how little, if that's Aaron Rodgers out there, he's got 7 and on a bullseye, and he's going to go until Ringo proves he can stop it. But we haven't seen that. So I don't think it's been as bad as people have made it out to be. And I think coming out of the bye, it's Ringo's job. Somebody's got to take it from him. And maybe the Packers attack him. Maybe the Lions attack him, and maybe he loses it. But I think it's his job again. And we'll see if it toggles back and forth.
Yeah. Well, what's the best way to help a weak cornerback without actually improving the cornerback spot, John?
Well, cover 3, which is what mainly.
Yeah, I'm talking about there's something different.
What, Cooper moving outside?
No, I'm talking about getting a fucking pass rush, baby.
Oh yeah.
Getting Myles Garrett would help that cornerback 2 spot in spades, baby.
Yeah, that would definitely help. But I don't think they're moving Cooper outside. At least,
So even with the Carter trade, you're still feeling like week 12, week 13, week 14 roll around. You still don't think Coop will be outside?
Well, I think it gives them more options, and to use Dallas, because that's the best example I can use, because CD plays inside a lot. I think, then you want Cooper inside. And if it's more of an X receiver that's dominant or a Z receiver, you maybe want him more outside. If Carter can play, and by the way, I was looking at his tape yesterday, he's not playing well. So you got to get over two hurdles.
What are you seeing on the Carter tape?
Nothing good.
No, I mean, but is it easy to identify a why? Is it because he's out of shape? Is it because he's just not getting the moves aren't as good? Like, what do you think it is?
I don't think I've ever seen an out of shape NFL cornerback. Those don't exist. He's not playing well. He wasn't playing well. Now maybe that's injury related. Maybe it's being on a bad team. It wears you down. There's a lot of things. That's another great thing about Myles Garrett. Doesn't get worn down no matter what. He doesn't get woe is me. Oh, I'm on a bad team mentality. So I don't know, but he has not been playing well, Michael Carter. So I think number one, he's got to prove that he can play. And number two, to give you an example, all right, let me pull this up. All right, 113 corners graded by PFF. Keely Ringo is 64th. Not as bad as I think people would think. Michael Carter is 111 of 113. He's not been playing well. When he was playing, and he lost
111 of 113.
111 of 113. And he lost. Remember, he got benched for Brownlee. The Jets went out to acquire. He got benched. He's not been playing well. Now, earlier in his career, he was a pretty good player. So, maybe they can get him. And to give you an example, Dory Jackson, by the way, is 109 of 113. So he's below Adoree. And Adoree has not played well. So, yeah, for anybody who thinks that's like a slam dunk trade, I don't agree. In fact, I still think the Eagles' hope is just what I said. Keeley continues to improve and locks that down, and Cooper stays in the slot for the most part. Obviously, he's already playing outside the base when there's only two receivers on the field.
Yeah, interesting stuff there, John. With those guys, Michael Carter feels like another Temu trade.
It feels like and well, actually,
you're stuttering, John. He's in line with the Temu offseason, isn't it? I hope he's a great player. I hope he does. But
how many times did they make these trades? The Mechie trade. Everybody's
that's what
excited.
I mean. Mechie and
the Bennett trade, the Bennett trade, the Bigsby trade. Now, it's funny because Bigsby, everybody was out on after he got benched as a kickoff. Now everybody's back in on him because he had a big game against the Giants. But none of those trades are splash trades. Every time Howie makes a move, Howie fleeced so-and-so. He didn't fleece Las Vegas with Thomas Booker for Jacorian Bennett. He may not have fleeced Jacksonville with 2 picks for Tank Bigsby. Maybe he did. Still too early. He certainly didn't fleece Houston for John Mechie. He already traded John Mechie to get Michael Carter. And he probably didn't fleece the Jets on Michael Carter, to be honest. Now, did he make his team incrementally better with each of those moves? Yeah, that's the goal. But they weren't splash moves by any stretch.
Yep. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. All right. I want to get a grade on the 2 sophomore players who you hear sophomore slumps a lot in the NFL. There's no guarantee that a player who plays great in his rookie year is going to come back and have just as good of a year or improve. Quinyon and Coop. We talked a lot about that with Mike Gill as well in the summer, where are we sure that Bond and Quinyon and Coop, guys who really just did it for the first time, are going to be able to do it again? How do you grade out Quinyon and Cooper in their second year as Eagles?
Oh, great! I would put Cooper at A plus. A plus. Can I give A plus plus?
Yeah, you can. If you want, you can. Cooper is amazing, man.
The guy is just a freaking football player, and that's how Vic described him. That's how everybody described him. He can do anything. He can do everything.
Say he'd be like if you looked up football player in the dictionary, it'd be a picture of Cooper.
It's unbelievable his versatility. Man, he's going to be in the conversation to be the best pure football player. When Ed and I do that list, we're still going next year. He's going to be in the conversation to be number 1. I'll tell you that right now. If he continues to play, and think about all the talent on this team, he is an amazing, amazing football player. And Quinyon Mitchell is not far behind as a corner.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree.
My only concern, I brought this up a couple times. My only concern about Quinyon is he's very, very handsy. Now, he's already got the reputation as being one of the best corners in football, so that helps because you get the benefit of the doubt if you're a star, and people are already consider him a star. But every week you see these jersey pulls that are very obvious. And I fear that's going to hurt the Eagles in a big situation at some point where, for whatever reason, the officials, see it and, all of a sudden maybe a 3rd and 10 in the playoffs that win the game turns into a 1st and goal because they call it at the wrong moment.
Right.
He's very, very
You're right. He's a
handsy.
handy corner. Yep, he's a handy corner. Yeah.
And that can be a very good thing, but you got to be more savvy about it. And I think you'll get more savvy about it. But right now, the Eagles have gotten some breaks because he could have a lot of PIs at this stage. That's my only concern with Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree. That's a fair concern, but overall, he's a tremendous player, no doubt. And how about that Coop grade A+? John, how about a rookie player here? But the reason I bring him up is because you let a guy go who really was a solid player there. How do you grade Andrew Makuba and just that safety spot where you lose Gardner Johnson last year, you trade him away, and you replaced him right now effectively with a rookie? It's been Sidney Brown. It's been Makuba. There's been some back and forth there. How do you grade that spot and then kind of just Makuba specifically in his rookie year?
I'm going to go C. Vic called it uneven. I think that's
a good word. Yeah.
Perfect descriptor for it. Clearly he's a playmaker. He can do some things. The Eagles were right about that. He is comfortable in space. He's had some bad missed tackles. That's never a surprise with young guys coming from college, but he also showed he's physical for his size. He stoned, I think it was Mason in Minnesota, inside the 5-yard line that looked like it was going to be a touchdown. So he shows I'm still very high on him, but right now I think uneven is a very good description. Too many blown coverages, too many missed tackles. But I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah, agreed there. I think that's pretty fair for him. All right, last one here on specific players. Tyler Steen, who replaced Mekhi Becton last year.
I'm going to give Tyler a very high grade because of expectations. Like I thought they were going to really struggle with Tyler Steen, and he's been good. I'm going to give him a B+.
Wow, that's high. Even because I feel like he has been probably by no fault of his own. I feel like he's been a letdown in the run game because he just can't decleat people the way Mekhi Becton could. Mekhi Becton.
Well, no, he's a different.
Tyler's just not that big.
He's definitely a different style of player.
Yeah, right.
But I think he's been very good. I think by and large, really the only issues have been, jumping off sides and the tush push. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it doesn't. He's very good run blocker, very good pass protector to this point. I think he's the one guy we all go, well, Cam looks banged up. Landon looks banged up. Even Jordan at times, people have said he hasn't played well, which I don't necessarily understand, but people have said it. And Lane is pretty much above reproach, but you can make a strong argument that he's been more consistent than Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson this year. Now, with Landon, obviously, that has to do with the injuries. And Cam to a certain degree as well. But I think he's been great. And Brett Toth as well. It's only one game, but my God, was that a good game.
Well, you know what the difference was there, John? Jeff Stalin had a week to prep him. The week prior, everyone's like, oh, Jeff Stalin, why do you keep putting Toth in? He came in on a whim because Cam Jurgens went down. Jeff had a week to prepare Toth, and he looked a lot better. I'm like, yeah, it's about on par for Jeff Stalin. He's going to.
By the way, for all the talk about the Eagles, because I pulled up the PFF grades, for all the talk about the Eagles' offensive line, Jurgens is 15 of 33 at center. Obviously, not where he should be, but not terrible.
No, not terrible.
Steen is 19 of 82 at guard. 19 of 82.
Pretty good for Steen.
Dickerson is up to 26 after the bad start.
Okay.
26 of 82. Still well above average. Mailata is 7 of 77 at tackle. He's usually 1 or 2, so that's a disappointment. 7 of 77. Lane's 15 of 77. Which is still really good. And Choate has played enough snaps. He's number 5 of 82 because they grade him at guard. Number 5 of 82, Brett Choate. But that's all because of one game at center. So it doesn't really matter.
Came in that game, so it's skewed a little bit. But all right, good stuff there, John. Good grading out. I'll do one more here. Special teams started the season hot. Not so hot anymore. Kick returner's been a problem. How do you grade out special teams through the first 8 weeks?
Well, actually, they kind of fixed kick return after they benched Bigsby.
That's true.
Will Shipley was great against the Giants. He got 2 returns out to the plus 40, so you give him great field position. So I think they fixed that with Shipley and Gibson. Now, the problem with Gibson, he had some ball security issues. That's why he got cut. He's a good returner. Everybody knows that. But so we'll see if that crops up. But he also gave them a little bit more a punt returner than Jahan Dotson was giving them. So that's a positive as well. Jake's been great for the most part. Obviously, he had that one bad miss in Minnesota, and then he banged off like a 58-yarder with the whistle issue. So, but he's having a great season. Braden Mann's been great. Coverage teams have been good. I think for the most part, it's been a really strong season on special teams. I'd give them a B, maybe even a B+. But now I can't give them a B+ because of all the kick return with the dirty kicks with the Josh Carty. And by the way, that's all Mechie and who's gone and Bigsby, who's not going to return kickoffs. So, you probably don't have to worry about that moving forward.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see how that evolves throughout the season as well. Obviously had a very good start on special teams with the blocked field goals and things of that nature. So good stuff.
Yeah, didn't even bring up the blocked field goals and blocked punt. They got the blocked punt too.
That's right, blocked punt. Correct. All right, good stuff, John. Let's get some super chats here to end the show. I want to thank our 2 new members on the show today. Quantum Philly becomes a YouTube member. Thank you, brother. We appreciate your support. If you're new to the channel, welcome in, my guy. We got a lot of Eagles content all day long. If you're not and you just became a member, appreciate you being here and for doing it, my friend. That support of the channel goes a long way. And then, how do you pronounce that, John? Gadsden basketball, maybe? Gads D78 basketball. Thank you, brother, for becoming a member, man. We appreciate it. You can tell me how to pronounce that so I get it better. But I appreciate you for becoming a member. Here's Corporate Pumper. Since we're talking fairy tales, would you trade Jalen Hurts for Myles Garrett? I would even throw in a 1. They get their QB and Tanner takes the helm. That is the most pumper super chat.
Why do you got to go sci-fi on us, Pumper? There's a great Why do you got it? We're having a nice little story, and you got to go all crazy. Why do you got to make up the fantasy?
It's the B pumper way, John. It's the B pumper way.
Now you don't. The value of quarter, as we're talking about. Look, Myles Garrett's a better pure football player than Jalen Hurts. Myles Garrett is not on a football team prepared to win because they don't have a quarterback. Quarterback is the most impactful position on the field, maybe the most impactful position in sports. You can make an argument for starting pitcher in Game 6 of the World Series or something like that. But certainly the most impactful position in football. And if you have a quarterback, as Minnesota should learn this year, you hold on to him like grim death. I don't know how you got him, but hold on to him. And the Eagles have to hold on to their quarterback.
Yeah, they're not doing that. Pumper, appreciate it, brother. James M becomes a legend member. Thank you, James. Appreciate you, brother. That support goes a long way. So we do appreciate that. Our guy James M is our newest legend member. That might be enough to activate a giveaway today on Zander Time. We will see. Jason A-Team says, Steen this last Giants game was standing up Dexter Lawrence one-on-one a few times. He has been a nice surprise. No wonder Stout stuck with him.
Yeah, Stout is, took a couple hits, rare hits, with Toth and Steen, but he's again proving that he deserves the benefits of the doubt most times. I think that's fair to say. But, yeah, I've been impressed with Tyler Steen. I thought there were going to be more issues there, and he's been very, very quiet. You don't have a lot of games where you're saying, oh, that was terrible by Tyler Steen. He's been a really solid player.
Yeah, good stuff.
And for him, it took a while. As he played 4 years at Vanderbilt at right tackle, and he played his 1 year at Alabama at left tackle. He was a tackle. He was more comfortable at tackle, so it took him a long time to transition inside and be comfortable with it.
Yeah, very different playing tackle versus guard. And Steen's done a nice job this year. Hopefully he keeps developing because might have some offensive line turnover coming up here. I don't know how much longer Lane will go. John, we've talked about Lane, If the Eagles trade for Myles Garrett, I can guarantee you Lane will be coming back. Okay? I can guarantee you Lane Johnson does not hang up the cleats if they brought in Myles. Another benefit to bringing in Garrett.
Yeah, I don't know where Lane is with that because he's bringing it up a lot. So I think it's got more to do with off the field stuff than on the field stuff with Lane Johnson. And I think this might be his last year, but we'll see. We'll see.
Interesting, good stuff there. All right, Johnny Mac. End of the bye week here on the specific week. Next week is kind of weird because they don't have a game on the weekend, John. They don't play till Monday night, so a little bit of an extra half.
It's gonna be a nightmare stretch, I think. Night games all over the place. You got Monday night, you got a Friday game, you got the
John. It's a beautiful stretch of football, though, man. This is where the money is made, baby. You are getting into the parts of the season. November football, things get serious. You got great competition coming up. We're about to learn a lot about the Eagles. It's going to be a fun ride, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe the most surprising thing is that, you got that, you have the 2 games with Washington at the end of the season that are to be determined, the timing. Everything else, 8:15, 8:20, 4:25, 3. That's the Black Friday game against Chicago. 8:15 Chargers. That's night game. They have the one outlier, 4:25 against the Bills. The one outlier, December 14th, the crappy Raiders, 1:00. That's the only time you'll get to see the Eagles in the early window. Quite a few early windows. Early in the season. That has evaporated. And boy, I look at November 16th, 8:20. That's the game we all wanted to see last year.
Yeah, the Lions. Yep.
And it's at Lincoln Financial Field, so I think that's going to help the Eagles. That to me is they're both really interesting. At Green Bay, November 10th, coming off the bye. That's a very interesting game. And then Detroit. And even at Dallas, because Dallas is so good offensively. I think that's going to tell you all you need to know, that 3-game stretch, about your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep, good stuff. Johnny Mac, bye week next week. Or no, this weekend, and then
we're on the bye week. Yeah, we're on the bye week. We just finished the bye week.
We'll be
from our perspective. Although, who knows? We might be talking later today about Myles Garrett. Who knows?
I pray. I pray to the good Lord, and I don't pray to the good Lord often about football. That doesn't make the prayers. But man, Myles Garrett and Eagle Green. See you on Broad Street, everybody. Johnny Mac, your final thought here on a Football Friday.
Yeah, trade deadline coming up Tuesday. It's Tuesday, next Tuesday, November 4th, 4 o'clock. Generally, you get stuff done a little bit earlier. So, if you're interested, keep those phones.
Oh, John, one thing I got to mention before we wrap. They were calling me a curmudgeon yesterday. They're calling me John Jr. yesterday because I'm talking about Halloween. And I'm like, I'm not in on Halloween or the parties or any of that bullshit. I guess we have to mention today it's Halloween, right?
Happy. I totally
candy tonight, John. You put on a costume, John.
You reminded me it was Halloween. I knew because my wife
Daniel Belfield just reminded me.
Yeah, I knew because she was getting the candy ready yesterday. But that is her department, and yeah, that is not my department.
No,
that is her department.
I did not think it would be. You might. Rumor is John's dressing up as Myles Garrett for Halloween this year. We'll see.
I'm dressing up as a reporter covering the Philadelphia Eagles.
There you go. What you actually are. Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Appreciate you, brother. We will talk to you maybe Monday. Well, definitely Monday. Maybe before Monday. All right, we'll see. Johnny Mac, good show, brother. I'll talk to you then.
All right, see y'all.
All right,
happy Halloween. There you go.
There's Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. All right, great week of shows today and a lot of good conversation. I know some people think it's fairy tale. I don't know if it's all fairy tale, man. I understand that it's far fetched, but I'm telling you right now, the Eagles want Myles Garrett. Now, maybe John's right. Maybe Andrew Berry will not be willing to part with Myles Garrett, but the part of the equation where it won't work will not have to do with the Eagles saying no. I promise you that. Okay, the Eagles are willing to send 3 first-round picks. So anybody out there that thinks the Eagles won't, why would they send 3? I guarantee you, if Myles Garrett is made available or they are willing to trade Myles Garrett, the Eagles would not blink at 3 first-round picks. They will do it. They were willing to do 2 plus more and $47 million for Micah Parsons. They were willing to do it. The Cowboys just didn't want to trade in the NFC East. That's the first smart decision that Jerry's ever made. All right. So I tell you guys, woo! I don't get giddy about football very often. Myles Garrett and Eagle Green, I am literally booking the parade float. If Myles Garrett wears Eagle Green, all right, I will be insufferable to many of you nerds. All right? Please, Myles. Come on, Howie. Come on, Howie. Make it happen, Howie. Eduardo says you got to love trade deadlines. Eduardo, I'm telling you right now, this is not just like a, hey, it's a trade deadline. Let's talk about getting Myles Garrett. It's not that. It's not that. Not that. Do the Browns not want to trade Myles Garrett? Obviously, they don't. There is real conversation that the Eagles would be willing to send 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. Will that be enough to move the Browns? Maybe it's not. But to sit here and act like it's just a rumor and fairy tale is incorrect. It is incorrect. And I just had John on for 2 hours. What did John tell you that? John would tell you that. John hates bullshit narratives. He knows that if he became available, the Eagles would do it. It's not just fairy tale combo. I mean, it is in a sense of will they trade him, but the Eagles are willing to do it. And by the way, the Brian Pumper, Twiz, I'm going to put you in a blender. I see Twiz in here. Well, why would you trade 3 first-round picks for Myles fucking? It's Myles Garrett. It's Myles fucking Garrett. What are we holding the 3 first-round picks for, Twiz? Seriously, what are we holding on to 3 first-round picks for when you're talking about Myles Garrett? Anybody who says they don't want Myles Garrett in Philly is fucking delusional. That's like saying, nah, could have got Reggie White. Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good on that. You know what? Reggie White? Nah, we don't need him. Why would we want Reggie White? We got Nolan Smith. We don't need Reggie White. We don't need Reggie. Come on, man. Here's Twiz. Who said that? Who said we aren't getting him because they just paid him? Look at the contract, Twiz. It's very tradable. 20 mil dead cap this year, 40 next year, and the Eagles could eat some of that for the Browns. By the way, he's making $7 million less than Micah Parsons right now. He's already a steal. He's already a steal, and the cap's going to go up another $20 million next year, maybe more. Yeah, 29. Dang, if there's anybody playing to 35, it's Myles Garrett. The dude is a fucking machine. He literally looks like he was made in a lab. He looks like he was created in a laboratory. And he plays like he was too. I know we joke about Madden all the time, but if there's ever a player in the league that resembles the guy that you turn up to 99 on every metric and they just dominate every game, it's Myles Garrett. Nobody can block him. Listen to Lane Johnson talk about Myles Garrett. Listen to Lane Johnson talk about him. Woo! Bring me Myles. Bring me Myles. Bring me Myles. Come on, Howie. Come on, Howie. We're going to Broad Street if we get Myles Garrett. Keith says it takes two. Keith, you're not wrong. That's the context we added in the entirety of the show today. I think we talked about it at length. I think we added every necessary bit of context necessary for that conversation. Obviously, the Browns have to agree to it. But I have never heard that the Eagles are willing to part with 3 first-round picks in my life. All right? The Eagles are willing to part with 3 first-round picks for this player. Now I understand what John is saying. Andrew Berry was schooled in the Howie Roseman camp. You don't trade great players and they're a quarterback away. First of all, I think that's bullshit. They've literally sucked for 30 fucking years. Now all of a sudden the Browns are a quarterback away. He's a 29-year-old edge rusher. He's making $40+ million. Your team is 2-6. You are last in the division with 3 teams that have an under 500 record. 3 teams in that division are under 500. 3 of them. And the worst one of them all is the Cleveland Browns, per usual. Like at some point, it's like, Andrew, just let go, bro. You need to rebuild. 7 first-round picks. They will have 7 first-round picks. I understand Myles Garrett's a Hall of Fame player. Why would you get rid of a Hall of Fame player? If you're being objective and honest, as John always says is one of the hardest things for a GM to do, what would be better for the future of the Cleveland Browns? Having Myles Garrett for the next 3 years or having 7 first-round draft picks? That might give them a fighting chance to get a quarterback, which they probably still won't do because it's been, as Daz pointed out to me, since Bernie fucking Kosar 30 years ago. Think about that. I mean, be honest. If you're the Browns GM, I understand. Why would you trade a Hall of Fame player? You're the Browns. You're 2-6. You have 2 quarterbacks that are both rookies and both right now stink. I don't know what Shador might be. Maybe he doesn't stink. Dylan Gabriel looks like a bag of balls. He fucking stinks. What are you holding on to a 30-year-old edge rusher for that's making $40 million? Really? Is that what you need to turn the Browns around? I get it. He's an unbelievable player. What's more valuable to the Browns right now? 7 first-round picks in the next 3 years. They'll have 3 first-rounders in the upcoming NFL draft, or 30-year-old Myles Garrett. I'm sorry, but this makes sense from the Browns' perspective, and I get John's point. John's premise, though, the entire premise is you don't let great players walk out the room. All right, well, if you're the Eagles, yeah, you don't. If you're the Eagles, yeah, you don't. If you're the Browns, what are you holding on to that for? What are you holding on to that for? Yeah, they are hoeing Sanders. They should play Sanders because Dylan Gabriel sucks. Xander, you operating on pure delusion? No, I'm not, Pumper. It's a real report that the Eagles are willing to part with 3 first-round picks. If you think a general manager is not going to at least pick up the phone when 3 first-round picks are being offered, you're the one who's fucking delusional, Pumper. As you usually are. 3 first-round picks. Every GM in the league is picking up the phone, my friend. Every GM in the league is picking up. Wait a second. Wait. 3 first? All right, let's talk. Doesn't mean I'm going to do the deal. 3 first-round picks, and you think they're not even taking the call? I think you're the delusional one, my friend. Fucking 3 first-round picks for a 30-year-old edge rusher. Are you kidding me? Micah Parsons is not the player, but at least he's 26. At least he's 26. And by the way, the Browns are in the AFC. Who cares if they send him to the Eagles? He's in the NFC. Anybody that thinks the Browns can contend in the next 3 years is more delusional than Pumper. That was my biggest knock on John today. He's acting like the Browns are like close. The Browns aren't fucking close. The Browns have never been close. And the only time they got close, they decided to get rid of that quarterback. That's how fucking stupid that organization is. And for all the talk of Andrew Berry being from the Howie Roseman camp and the Howie Roseman tree, and he does business like Howie Roseman, yeah, well, it doesn't look like it. They're 2-6 again. They suck again. How many years has Andrew Berry been their general manager? I mean, you can talk like you're Howie Roseman all you want. You're not. Howie's team is good every year. The Browns suck every year. Sorry, but this guy ain't Howie. Andrew Berry might be a fine GM. He ain't Howie Roseman or anything close. So the thought process that the Browns are going to be contending in the next 3 years or the next 48 months, if you will, is delusional. That is what's delusional. The Browns contending in the next 3 years. Give me a fucking break. Give me a break. The Browns are nowhere near contention. And by the way, Myles has a no-trade clause. He's slamming his helmet last week with 5 sacks. You don't think he's in the GM's office? You don't think he's in the head coach's office? What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? The guy's a Hall of Fame player. How many winning seasons has Myles Garrett been a part of? How many years in Myles Garrett's career, because he's always been a great player, how many years have they finished above 500? Let's look it up. How long has Myles been in the NFL? A decade? A decade? Let's look. 2016, they were 1-15. 2017, they were 0-16. 2018, they were 7-8-1. 2019, they were 6-10. 2020, the outlier, they were 11-5. 2021, they were 8-9. 2022, they were 7-10. 2023, they were 11-6. 2024, they were 3-14. And 2025, they are 2-6. There's been 2 years in Myles Garrett's fucking career where they have finished above 500. 2 years. 2. And you're going to look at me and say, hey, the Browns are close. The Browns are close. Dude, come on. Come on. Original says it's kind of his fault he's still there. I think they lied to him. I think they told him they were getting him a quarterback. Remember, this offseason, he was requesting a trade. I need out of Cleveland. I want to go win. I want to go win, is what Myles Garrett was saying. I think they lied to him straight up. I think they said, we're getting you a quarterback. And then they gave him Dylan fucking Gabriel. And then that resulted in Myles taking his helmet and bashing it off the turf. They told him they were getting him a quarterback. They delivered him Dylan Gabriel on a silver platter. Now he's like, you guys have to be kidding me. You told me you were getting me a quarterback, not Dylan fucking Gabriel. Are you kidding me? Oh, my goodness. Holy moly. Myles, we're getting you a quarterback. Just hang on. We'll make you the highest paid edge, and we're going to go get you a quarterback. Here's Dylan Gabriel. Huh? Dylan Gabriel's a stiff. He's a stiff. And the third-round pick was egregious for him. Third-round pick for Dylan Gabriel. The guy's a stiff. He's an absolute stiff, a dusty stiff. And Myles Garrett is about to lose his mind over there. Come on, Myles! If I'm Myles, I am in the GM's office today. I will waive my no-trade clause to the Philadelphia Eagles. You take those 3 ones. I'm not playing here anymore for this shitty organization. What a dog shit organization. What an absolute train wreck of an organization. They got two teams in their division are 3-5. 2 teams, and they're still worse. They're still at the bottom of the division. They can't even level up in the division when the rest of the division blows. They can't even level up when Joe Burrow gets hurt and Lamar Jackson gets hurt. The other 2 teams with good quarterbacks absolutely blow, and they still can't surpass them. That's how bad the Cleveland Browns are. That's how bad the Cleveland Browns are. Holy moly. Myles Garrett in Philly, I'll see you on Broad Street. I will see you on Broad Street. I'm telling you, man. I think they cut Kenny Pickett, didn't they? Or what did they do with Kenny Pickett? Is he on injured reserve? Where's he? Let's look it up. That's right. We gave him Kenny Pickett. I forgot about that. Well, what's Kenny Pickett up to now? Is he even there anymore? Oh, he's with the Raiders now. Is that right? Is he with the Raiders? You're telling me Kenny Pickett's not even there anymore. He's with the Raiders. They traded for Flickett. They traded for Flickett. He's with the Raiders. That organization makes every wrong decision. If I ever hear again that Andrew Berry is like Howie Roseman, my head is going to fucking explode. It's going to explode. This guy's a lot like Howie. Yep. This guy's a lot like Howie. Oh, my moly. Oh, me, holy moly. By the way, put a quarterback. They don't have receivers. They don't have shit. Their offensive line is old and getting worse. The Browns would be fools not to take this deal. They would be fools. And Andrew Berry, if he holds on to it for another year, we need just Myles, one more year. One more year, give us Myles. Dylan Gabriel's coming, my friend. Holy shit. This is so funny. This is so funny. I still can't believe John was telling me that Cleveland was close. I get his point of you can't operate like that if you're a GM, but it contradicts his point of the hardest thing for general managers to do is be honest. John says that on this show a couple times a week. He says it on the show. And what are the Browns doing? Not being honest with themselves. They had a quarterback room with 5 freaking quarterbacks. Every one of them sucks. Joe Flacco couldn't do shit there for all the people saying they're close. He goes to Cincinnati, all of a sudden the dude's dealing. They ain't close. Exactly, Brandon. You're certified ass cheeks, and somebody's offering you 3 first-round picks, and I'm supposed to believe they're going to say no? That's what I call bad business. That is bad business. If you're a GM and you suck once again, and you're 2-6 once again, I mean, this guy's off reputation alone, Andrew Berry. The guy stinks. The guy stinks. He's done nothing. They had a quarterback. They got rid of him. He's now 6-2 in Tampa Bay. Let's go to some super chats. All right. JD3. What up, JD? I just think if they planned on moving on, they would have in the offseason. They knew they were trash in May. They could have gotten picks and no contract. Yeah, JD, they told them they were getting him a quarterback, and then they delivered him Dylan Gabriel on a silver platter, JD3. And that has resulted in 5 sacks in a game for Myles Garrett and him slamming his helmet into the ground so hard it broke. They played him. They played him. They played Myles Garrett. Andrew Berry's a fool. And I might put Andrew Berry on my shit list, by the way. If I hear once again, ever again, that this guy is comparable to the general manager of the 2-time Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, my head's going to fucking explode. Oh, yeah, well, he worked with Howie. He worked with Howie one time. So that means he's going to be really good. What? They objectively suck balls. And by the way, it's not like the owner's not willing to pay money. Jay Shaw, what up, Jay? Best part of the day is when Zander gets on one and starts yelling. Really, some people hate it. It is what it is. Like yesterday with the Stunad comment. Funny as fuck. Hey, guy couldn't even fucking spell the word right, calling me a Stunad. He's a Stunad. Dirty Air says, when John saw the dead cap hit, his tone changed from not happening to, well, he'd have to do something wrong. Dirty Air, you're very right about that. Those dead cap hits aren't crazy, my friend. Those dead cap hits are not crazy. They aren't crazy. Howard, I agree. 3-peat if we got Myles. Assuming he stayed healthy, which he has his whole career basically. Yeah, 3-peat. Might go 4-peat with that dude. Wait a second. Think about this. All these fans who are saying, why would you trade 3 first-round picks? Oh, no. You could have the modern-day Reggie White and the modern-day, hopefully, Jerome Brown and Jalen Carter on your defensive line, and you're like, no, keep the picks. We need those picks in the future. Why, so we can draft another Nolan Smith? Really? Really? Twiz. Yeah, you're right, Twiz. You're right. I still believe in Santa Claus. That was a good one, Twiz. Boy, Twizzler, you really proved your point that way, Twiz. Holy moly. Twiz is on fire, everybody. He has now given you why he is correct. Twiz the Jigga says, I believe in Santa still, and that proves that the Eagles should not or would not trade for Myles Garrett. Yeah, Twiz, that's a real good one to build an argument on, Twiz. Zander believes in Santa. Oh, man, Twiz. How will I recover? How will I recover, Twizzler? Here's Penn. Can Jihad, Nolan, and 2 firsts get it done? I would do it. But I don't think they'll go with that. I don't think they'll go that route. I think they'd rather go 3 first-round picks than get rid of Jihad. Why are you getting rid of Jihad? He's a first-round pick that's going to work, and he's young on a rookie deal. You're going to need rookie deals, especially with paying a player like Myles. Here's Corporate B-Pop. What's delusional is thinking we had the best package to offer in the first place. There is not another team in pro football, Brian Pumper, that will offer 3 first-round picks. Take it to the bank. There is not another team in pro football that has a roster as good as ours who would be willing to give up 3 first-round picks. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Are there other teams who have better draft picks? Sure, maybe. None of them will give 3 ones. None of them. Because all their rosters stink too. None of them have a roster as good as the Eagles. None of them. If you're going to call me delusional, at least put some fucking proper context on it, pump. JD3, this feels like Trayvon Walker on roids. I agree. That's a good way to put it. Here's Maxton. What's up, Maxton? Shawinski. Am I pronouncing that wrong? It's like a Polish name. Szczecinski? I don't know. You got to tell me if I'm way off there. They done lied to his name. No way they can say no to this deal. I agree, Max, and they lied to him. Hey, we're getting you a quarterback. Here's Dylan fucking Gabriel. I say, you got to be outside your mind. You told me you were getting me a quarterback, and you deliver me Dylan Gabriel? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Dirty Air says Garrett, Carter, the best linebackers in football. Q and Coop, Owen. Oh, Dirty Air. It doesn't take. You don't have to be that smart of a guy or that smart of a football fan to realize that defense will terrorize the NFL. 2 great corners, 2 great linebackers, and 3 great defensive line players. Who gives a shit about Jalix, Nolan, any of these guys? I don't even care about Jomo or Davis. You got Carter and Garrett on the same defensive line with Coop and Quinion as your corners and Bond as your linebacker. Dude, I seriously don't think people are thinking this through. I don't think people are thinking about this the right way. But here's Twiz. You believe in saying, we're not trading 3 first-round picks. The Browns are close. All right, Twiz. All right, Twizzler. Real Rich. Z, 3 first. What else you offering for Garrett? Because those are more like second-round picks because they're so damn good. And they won't view it like that, Rich, because this is why. They're not going to take 7 selections in the first round of the next 3 years. What it gives them is 100% optionality. Remember, Rich, the Browns have their own first-round pick this year. They have the Jaguars' first-round pick this year, and then they would have the Eagles' first-round pick. They would have 3 first-round picks this year. Now, if you're a smart GM, wait, Andrew Berry, once again, he's like Howie Roseman, right, everybody? Remember what Howie did when he had multiple first-round picks? He traded back from 6 to 12, picked up another first-round pick in the following year. He parlayed those 2 first-round picks into multiple ones for future years, and we ended up with Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Jahad Campbell, Quinion Mitchell. That's what it gives them. It's not about they're sitting at the end of the first round. That's not what it's about. It's giving Cleveland all of the assets they need to rebuild their football team because they suck. Myles Garrett or not, the team sucks. They suck. They will be able to shake and bake and move and trade and move up and go get their quarterback or bring in a reclamation quarterback, whatever they want to do. That's where they are. 7 first-round picks for a team that is 2-6 is more valuable than Myles Garrett for them. It just is. It's just true. And Myles Garrett for us is more valuable than 3 first-round picks. Holy shit. I can't believe that people need to be convinced that Myles Garrett is worth it for us. Here's Corporate B. Pull up! Zander, that's a Jamaican take. The Lions, Chiefs, Rams, Patriots, and plenty of other teams would do it. This amateur hour. Horrific take Friday. You think the Lions, the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Patriots will send 3 first-round picks? Is that right, Brian Pumper? You really honestly believe that? First off, cross the Patriots off the list. That roster needs a lot of fucking work. They're not trading 3 first-round picks for 1 player. The Chiefs, they've never done that. They get rid of good talent to bring back picks. They're not trading 3 first-round picks. The Lions, maybe because Brad Holmes is aggressive. But they just paid an edge rusher $45 million. Now you think they're going to trade 3 first-round picks and inherit 40 more? Pumper, think about what you're saying. Think. Use your fucking brain. Think. Oh, yeah, they just paid $45 million. Now let's get rid of 3 first-round picks and bring in another $40 million edge. Illogical. Illogical. The most logical team in the NFL that makes sense for Myles Garrett is the Eagles. That's not an Eagle homer saying that. The most logical team that makes sense is the Eagles. It's the Eagles. It's not the Lions, the Chiefs, the Rams, or the Patriots. Whew. Logic out the window. They just paid the man. Twiz. Bullshit. Logic out the window. He was requesting a trade 6 months ago, Twiz. The fuck are you talking about? They gave the guy a 2-year extension on top of what he had left. And they gave him a no-trade clause. With a $20 million dead cap hit. As John pointed out earlier in the show, that's great contract work by Andrew Berry. That contract is movable and tradable, Twiz. The only one in delusion land is fucking you. Now, if they say no, sure, they might say no. That would make them even more stupid. I disagree with this. Curtis says, Xander, the trade makes sense for both teams. If they said no, it would have already happened. Bullshit, Curtis. You don't make a trade with Myles Garrett on a win. He's the best player in pro football. Those deals take time to come together. What's that old slogan or that old rule or whatever the hell they call it, law, where when you have a timeline to do something, you will fill up the timeline to do it or whatever it is. JD3 says, I don't think it happens, but I have my Howie pom-poms on, and if it does happen, I'll go full M. Reyes. Me too. I don't think it'll happen either, but I'm trying to explain to all of these people that they're stupid for thinking we shouldn't be in this conversation. Kimberly says, Z, Trayvon Walker who? Right kidney for him. I'm with you, Kimberly. All right? I'm with you, Kimberly. I'm with you. Here's Brian. Brian, you must also believe that the Browns are close. You must also believe that the Browns are close. What's that roll called? What is that thing called? Where you take all the time that you have to complete a task or something. What the fuck does a Jamaican take mean, Pumper? Be real. Wake up, Pumper. You've been wrong about every fucking take for the last 3 years. What, do you think you woke up and you're right all of a sudden? I mean, Pumper, I love you and you're hilarious, but at the end of the day, holy shit. Guy's been wrong about everything. All of a sudden, now, oh, I'm right. You're wrong about everything, Pump. Can you find me a take you were right about? Is there a singular take you can hang your hat on? And no, Keely Ringo being graded 70th in the NFL of cornerbacks is not a win for you. Okay? That's not a win for you, Pumper. Well, he's the 70th best corner. I was kind of right about Ringo. Oh, yeah. The 70th ranked corner in the NFL. That's a good one, Pump. No costume for me, Siglord. I'll fucking never wear another costume. It's Halloween. What's everybody doing? I'm sure you guys all have grandiose plans and you're going to go party and drink and do all these goofy things on Halloween. Dressed up. Grown adults dressing up will never not be weird as hell to me. All right? Pumper's dressed up. I know he is. Original Philly. I don't even know what it means. A Jamaican. What the fuck does that even mean? I have no idea what it means. Josh B, that's a little different. If you have kids, then you get a pass. I'm not talking about that. Josh B, I'm talking about the grown adults who have like Halloween parties, like with grown-ups, not like drinking parties. I'm not talking about kids. If you have kids and you dress up with your son or your daughter, yeah, duh. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about grown adults who are mingling with their grown adult friends in face paint and costumes. That is what I call a fucking weird. Dressing with kids, not an issue. Not an issue, obviously. Rome says, Lighten up, Z. No, Rome. No. Lighten up. Fuck that, Rome. Lighten up. Do I look like I want to lighten up right now, Rome? Really? Is that what it looks like to you? That I want to lighten up? Holy moly. Don't lose your I don't know what that means. Gang says that's complete. I don't know if you're talking to me. I have no intention of dehumanizing anybody. I just think it's weird to dress up if you're an adult and you're going to a party with a bunch of adults in a fucking outfit and face paint. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. But hey, I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for myself. Your ass was weird. I know it was, Sal. That's the last costume I've ever worn in my life. He's nuts. Says 3 firsts for an alien is a steal. Exactly. A steal. A steal. Yeah, handing out candy, fine. It's for the kids. Halloween is for the kids. Halloween is for kids. Okay? It's for kids. It's for kids. It's for children. Go ahead. Be your favorite superhero. Do whatever. Dress up as your favorite football player. Whatever. It's for kids. If you're Josh B or you're somebody else and you got kids and they want you to draw your dirty hair and you want to dress up, sure. I'm sure when I have kids and my daughter looks at me and says, Daddy, I want you to dress up with me, I'm going to do it. What I'm not going to do is make plans with my homie. Hey, I'm coming over, dog. What face paint are you rocking tonight, bro? You got a wig I can borrow? Holy shit, bro. Almond Joy, ugh. I really like, Almond Joy? Ugh, that's nasty. I mean, holy shit. Dawood, I don't know what's wrong with these people, man. I don't know what's wrong with these people. I don't know what's wrong, man. The thought of Myles Garrett and Eagle Green is just amazing. I mean, I can't even imagine. I really can't. I get it. I might be Delulu, and it's probably not going to happen. Let's call a spade a spade. It's probably not going to happen. Good Lord. If they're willing to do it, I'm doing it. And I know the Eagles are willing too, by the way. So for Twiz and Brian, they wouldn't do it. And there was some guy in here. I forget who it was. Hugh God, I think it was. I don't know if you're still in here. I saw you saying, you can't trade 3 first-rounders for a guy that old. Bullshit. Super Bowl windows are short. We've had 60 years in the Super Bowl era. We've won total 2 Super Bowls. How many have we been to total? 4? 4 total have we been to? Is that right? We've won 2 and we've been to 4? Or have we been to 5? You got a window here with a young team, a team that's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. And your only problem is you can't get pressure from the edge if your life depended on it. A guy who retired a couple of weeks ago is still our leading edge rusher. A guy who retired a couple weeks ago is still our leading edge rusher. Think about that. Yeah, let me make sure I keep the edge rushers who are young on that team because they can't get more sacks than Zadarius Smith, who played 4 fucking games. Holy moly. I would give 4 first. I don't even care. I would give 4 first. What are you holding on to first-round picks for? We have a window right now. Deshae, let me ask you something, Deshae. The Cowboys. Have the Cowboys ever had a dynasty? Yeah, they have. Have the Commanders ever had a dynasty? Yeah, they have. Have the Giants ever had a dynasty? Maybe not as good, but yeah, they have. Don't you want a dynasty, Deshae? The 49ers had a dynasty. Don't you want one of those? Do you think that's going to be available to you at all times? Don't you want to win multiple Super Bowls in an era, the Jalen Hurts era and the Nick Sirianni era? Don't you want to cement yourself as a dynasty? Don't you want to be able to come to the conversation with all the other teams who've had dynasties? Don't you want that? I don't care about it. It sounds like an Ohio State fan to me. I know it's not chip season. That's what I'm trying to tell these people. You get Myles Garrett and you go win a couple more Super Bowls. Guess what? Jalen Hurts is a Hall of Famer. Nick Sirianni's a Hall of Famer. And the Cowboys are crying more tears than they've ever cried in their lives. We don't have one of those. We don't have one of those. Myles Garrett improves our chances greatly. A lot more than Nolan Smith does or future first-round picks do. If we got Myles Garrett this year and he stayed healthy, we would win the Super Bowl. We would win the Super Bowl. I agree, Brandon. I'd lock us in too. Holy moly! I'm fired up. I never thought I'd be this fired up about Cleveland Browns football. But that team absolutely stinks. That general manager is still living off of working for Howie. I mean, how long has this guy been the GM? When did the Browns hire Andrew Berry? When did the Browns hire Andrew Berry? What, Google doesn't work anymore? You can't give me a damn answer to that? January of 2020. January of 2020. It's 25. We're going on 2026, bro. Your team still blows 5 years later. You are not Howie Roseman. You are not even close to Howie Roseman. You are not even to be mentioned in the same conversation as Howie Roseman. In fact, if you're Andrew Berry, the greatest accolade that you have in your career is working for Howie Roseman. Not anything you did with Cleveland. His greatest accolade as a general manager is the fact that he worked for Howie Roseman. Holy shit. That's his greatest 5 years. 5 years as the GM. Greatest accolade. Oh, I worked for Howie. That was John's entire premise today. Well, Andrew Berry, he comes from the Howie Roseman camp. He's not going to trade Myles. That's the entire premise. Why is this guy talked about like he knows how to do business like Howie Roseman? Because he worked for him once upon a time in 2018. Why is that the thought process? You have a dinner with Howie one time and now you're the same level of GM? You got to be kidding me. Andrew Berry is collectively stunk for the Cleveland Browns. He has stunk for the Cleveland Browns. Curtis says, no, Z, the premise was prioritizing the trial. Oh, yeah, Curtis, and how's that worked out? Curtis, can you tell me how that's worked out? How's that worked out for the Browns? The shitty Browns, who are once again, Curtis, 2-6. They've had Myles the whole time, Curtis. They've had Myles the whole time. How's prioritizing the trenches working out for him right now, Curtis? You let me know how that's working out for him. Because it ain't working at all. Again, the guy's living off a fairy tale that he worked with Howie, so he's a smart GM. He's not. He's a bad GM. It's been 5 years. The team blows. Still the team blows. Still, 5 years later, team sucks. Oh, Andrew Berry's doing a great job. Huh? Z, breathe. I'm good, Keith. Why are you yelling? Ryan, why are you here? Nobody asked you to be here. You don't like the yelling? Get the fuck out of here. I don't give a shit. But it goes down as the Howie dynasty. Good. Right now, it doesn't go down as the Howie dynasty because we don't have a dynasty. We don't have a dynasty. We are collectively, right now, as it stands, if you look at the whole picture, we are still the least successful franchise in our own division. Still. We're the least successful franchise in our own division. But nobody, keep the picks. Why do we need it? Well, we don't need Myles. Why do we want Myles Garrett? Yeah, let's make sure we keep drafting in the future. No, we're not, Twiz. Every single one has more rings than us, Twiz. Every one in our division. We have the least Super Bowl rings of any team in our own division, Twiz. What are you now, a Cowboy? Are you delusional? We have the least Super Bowl rings of any team in our division. Cowboys have what, 5 rings? 6 rings? Giants got how many? 4? Redskins had what, 3? All right, we have 2. You keep telling yourself that, though, Twizzler. You keep telling yourself. These nubs. What's up, brother? We do have a dynasty on our hands. We are 2-1 in 8 years. If we win this, it'll almost be solidified. Wrong. 2 completely different regimes, D's. When you look back, it'll be viewed completely differently. And that's why someone who said it's the Howie Roseman dynasty might make a lot of sense. You have 2 new coaches, 2 different head coaches, and 2 different quarterbacks. At least when the Niners changed the coach, they had the same quarterback. It's 2 different regimes. Now, Howie's the only common denominator. Oh, Twiz, I see Twiz is going back to the 1940s to count pre-Super Bowl era. Oh, yeah. Oh, Twiz, you sound like a fucking Cowboy fan. Remember, Twiz, you rip the Cowboys all the time. Haven't won since the 90s. Now you're literally bringing up wins from the 1940s and 50s? The Super Bowl era, I said, Twiz. Listen, Twiz. Listen. Super Bowl era. There's been 60 of them. 59. We're going into 60 this year. We have 2. Cowboys have 5. Giants have what, 4? And the Commanders have 3. We're the worst team in the division, Twiz. Why is that so hard for you to admit? We have had the least success in the Super Bowl era of any team in our division. Remember, the way we quantify success is Super Bowls. Q, I'm happy that I've convinced you. Let's go get Garrett. D says, I'm the one who said that. Howie Dynasty. You're right, Dees. It's the Howie Dynasty then. That's fair. Here's Pumper. Going from a left-hand Gabriel to a right-hand Gabriel. Not a big difference. We have a sleeping giant wearing number 16, and he's there collecting dust. So the only reason Pumper doesn't like my trade idea is because he wants to trade Jalen Hurts. That's it. Here's Paparo. We've won the most games since 2000. Okay, we have 2 Super Bowls in 60 years. Capitalize on the opportunity or let it slip. What does that mean? Hey, we won a lot of games. What do you want, a trophy for second place, Paparo? What do you want, a cookie? Paparo, aren't you one of the same people who says, hey, Lamar Jackson's not that good, he never won, or Josh Allen's not that good, they never won a Super Bowl, or hey, we're a better organization than those guys because we win more. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback because he won more Super Bowls, right? Now all you care about is winning games? Now Super Bowls aren't the most important thing? A lot of contradictions in here today, folks. Curtis says Zander is ripping the Browns. Now the Birds. He's going scorched earth until Myles is freed from the clutches of Andrew Berry. I'm not ripping the Birds. I'm simply pointing out an honest fact. We have been the least successful franchise in our own division in the Super Bowl era. That's an objective fact. If your metric for success is Super Bowl championships, which all of you tell me it is when you talk about Jalen Hurts, if that's the metric for success, we are the least successful. That's a fact. That's not a rip. I'm not ripping the Birds. The Birds are the best team in football right now. The Birds are the best GM in football right now. The Birds roster is head and heels above most other teams. Deez Nuss says Super Bowl this year would give us 4 appearances in 8 years, and a win would make us 3-1. You're right, Deez. That's why we need to get Garrett. Fourth and Philly says, make it happen, Howie. F them picks. Thank you, Fourth and Philly, for having a brain. Thank you, Fourth and Philly. I need everybody to wake up and smell the roses. Wake up and smell the coffee. Sig Lord with the smartest comment of the day. This is a bigger issue for Andrew Berry than anything. Andrew Berry is trying to convince the owner that the trade is worth it without him ending up fired. It'll take some lobbying. Sig Lord, thank you for bringing a smart chat to the conversation, because 7 first-round picks is the best way to rebuild the Browns. But do you trust Andrew Berry to do it? And Sig Lord is correct. If you give up on Myles Garrett, the owner's going to start to think about, do we want a new regime who's going to build the future of the Browns? Sig Lord with the take of the day. Sig Lord with the take of the day. HKP, I agree. He's getting fired regardless. Maybe that's why he's holding on to Myles. He ain't going to make the picks anyway. What does he care about the picks for? Right, HKP? Why would he care about first-round picks if he's getting fired? We get Garrett. It makes everyone around. Jeff, 100%. Jalen Carter gets better. Jordan Davis gets better. Zach Bond gets better. Nakobe Dean gets better. Quinyon and Cooper get better. Keely Ringo gets better. Crowley, go Texas, baby. We got a game tonight, right? We got a game tonight, right? I finally ordered. Ooh, Celtics tonight. Let's go. Let's go. What is the NBA Cup? All right, so having been out of basketball for the last 2 years and getting a little bit more back into it again, what is this cup bullshit? What is the NBA Cup? Is it a load of bullshit, or should I care about it? Should I care about it, or is it bullshit? Sig Lord, HKP. Should I care about it, or is it bullshit? It's bullshit. Blind Mind says it's bullshit. The cup is a load of BS. Okay. In-season tournament. Okay, so a crock of shit, but they're trying to add a little bit of fun in season. I'm cool with that. But it's not a championship. It's none of that crap. Okay. Sig Lord, kind of my take as well. Kind of bullshit, kind of fun. All right, I like it. They're just adding some in-season stuff. I remember. I saw it talked about a little bit last year, but I just have to read up on like the rules and stuff, how it works. Christopher Michael says, to make it happen, how far are you willing to go? I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, Christopher Michael. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. If that's 3 1s, a 3, and Nolan, goodbye and good riddance. Goodbye. You could combine 3 1s together to make a super pick, and the 3, and Nolan, and put them in a blender and try and create the biggest superstar you can come up with, and you still wouldn't come up with Myles Garrett. You still wouldn't. Maxey is a complete Paparo. Congrats. You had a good take. He's a superstar. He's not a star. He's not a star or an all-star or a great player. He is a superstar. He is a player you build the team around. Tyrese Maxey is a superstar. 100%. To be honest, I don't blame you. See, I've been getting into hockey. Wild Bear, I love hockey. I love hockey. Christopher says, I agree. I'd pack Nolan's bags for him. Me too. I'll drive him to the airport. I'll pay his baggage fees. I don't give a shit. Yimbo with $5. Thank you. If you meant to put a comment, just put the comment down below. You don't need a super again, and I'll read your comment. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. See, if the Eagles had to go 1-16 every year for 9 years, but on the 10th year they win the Super Bowl, is that success? No, that's not success. That's a one-off. That's a one-off. That's a one-off. I agree. 76ers could make a run. Well, it depends on Joel. It really depends. If Joel can give you what he gave you the other night, 25 minutes, 20 points, and I need better. Here's my problem with Joel right now. When you have great guards, fast guards like we have right now with Maxey and Grimes and Edgecombe and all these guys, you need a real center. And I don't say that from a sense that Joel is not a real center. I'm talking about Joel has given you an unconventional center skill set since he's been here. You need a conventional center now. That type of skill set. I need boards. I need great rim defense. That's what you need from a center. I need you to post up on the block at times. Joel doesn't really do those things. And I don't know if he's going to do those things. Bona, you're right. I kind of love the Bona kid. Adem Bona. I kind of love him, Keith. He was a second-round pick last year for this team. But I tell you what, I've been hard on Daryl Morey for some of the trades and some of those things, and Paul George, and you bring in Harden, and you bring in all these different players. He drafts well, man. Tyrese Maxey was like the 21st pick in the draft or something. VJ Edgecombe looks like the steal of the draft. This guy, Brian Pumper, couldn't even get his basketball take right either. VJ Edgecombe is leading basically every freaking metric for rookies. Most points per game, most points, most assists per game. I mean, he's got everything. This dude, VJ Edgecombe, is dominating right now in his first couple games. I know it's a small sample size, but Dawood says Myles is a generational talent. Comes around every 25 years. Agreed, Dawood. He's that good. He's the modern day Reggie. That's right. He's that good. And most people don't realize it because he's on Cleveland. Xander, it's the honeymoon phase. You falling for the banana. Again, Pumper, I will ask you to point to me where you have been correct about a take on any sports team in the city. Well, you were maybe right about the Phillies. You said they were a fraud, but we all knew they were a fraud. They talk about the song of that organization was about standing in a corner and watching your woman grope another man. Anybody who sings that out loud and makes that the collective song of your team is not going anywhere. Doesn't take a genius to realize that one. All right? I'm in the corner watching you kiss her. Who the fuck says this shit? Who the fuck sings this shit? Better yet, who made that the song of a professional sports team? I'll never forget when I went to the World Series game in 22 or whenever it was, and I pulled up to the lot. I got my fiance, she was my girlfriend at the time, in the car, and we pull into the lot, and there's some dude blaring this song at his car. I looked over at my woman, I said, this team ain't winning. By the way, they got no hit that night. That was the game they got no hit in the World Series. Bunch of softies. The Phillies. I'm sorry, guys. The Phillies. I'm on the Phillies right now where I was on the Sixers 3 years ago. Done with it. Done with the bullshit. Talk about banana in the tailpipe, Pumper. The Phillies are a banana in the tailpipe. Now that is a banana in the tailpipe. VJ Edgecombe is not. Every athletic measurable he has, Pumper, is elite. He was the most elite athlete in the entire NBA draft, excuse me. And then he comes in and he has this type of mentality with the way he's approached his rookie year. He's not shy. He doesn't shy away from any moment. He's aggressive. He plays with confidence. He's got a smooth jump shot. He gets to the rim. He's afraid of nothing with elite athleticism and a good jump shot. I don't think Edgecombe is the banana in the tailpipe. The Phillies are. Edgecombe is not, in my opinion. Here's Yimbo because you said $5. Appreciate it. For the people hanging on to the 3 first-round picks, have to realize that the success rate with Howie's draft, we can afford to give those picks away to make contracts and defense for the next 2 to 3 years. I agree. He's a role player. No, he's not, Pumper. You just want to be right, Pumper. That's it. You just want to be right. When I'm wrong, I'm okay with being wrong. You're not. You just want Ace Bailey to be the better pick. Right now, based on the information we have on October 31st, the Sixers made the right pick. If he starts to play like shit, maybe. But you just want to be right. You'll say anything so you can be right. Curtis Zander, it's rumored the Patriots offered a 2 for AJ. Yeah, I tried telling people that AJ wasn't. Somebody was legitimately in here telling me that AJ Brown was gonna get us 2 first-round picks if we trade them. I legitimately got that comment, and it was real. Somebody was legitimate with it. Second-round pick is about right for AJ right now. He's a 28-year-old receiver making $32 million. Second-round pick? Yeah. Sounds about right. No. I don't think we'd have to let anybody go. I don't think they're going to pay Nolan Smith. That was $25 million we thought we were going to pay. Carter we thought was going to make 40. I think he's more looking at 32. The cap space is going to go up another $25 million. And let me look at the cap hits for you. The cap hits that we would assume are right there. 1.2 this year, 8.1 next year, 16.1 in 27, 21 and 28. 29 and 30 is effectively BS because Howie will restructure by then. Cap hit's not a problem. The only problem contractually with Myles Garrett to the Eagles is getting Andrew Berry to take on that $40 million dead cap next year, which the Eagles could maneuver. You can help them with that. Happy Halloween, Xander and chat. What's your favorite candy? I don't know. I was just going on a Halloween rampage. I don't know. Fucking whatever they got. Reese's. Who knows? Butterfinger. I love a Butterfinger. Reese's, Butterfinger. I don't know. Reese's Egg Cups. There you go. Good one, Twiz. Your first good take of the day. Welcome to the party, Twizzler. Here's Pump. Not going to happen, and I'll be here to tell you I told you so. You're not telling me so. It's very unlikely for it to happen. I never prefaced this conversation by saying it's likely going to happen. You're saying they shouldn't do it or wouldn't do it. They would do it. The Eagles would do it. With the last 4 of their social on name. I don't know what that means, Pumper. Ryan says, Xander, if you want to do Sixers talk, get Kayla Santiago on. Kayla used to work with us, Ryan. I know Kayla well. She's good. She's good talent. I don't really need anybody if I wanted to, but I got you. Stoner says, Z, didn't mean a one-off. Hypothetically speaking, for the last 60 years, would it be successful to watch Eagles go 1-16 for 9 years and then on the 10th year win a Super Bowl? 6 rings by now. I'm kind of missing what you're trying to say, Stoners. All right. Xander on the BS today. Good, Fredo. You could use some of that. The only BS you've been selling is that Bad Bunny is good. I know, that's why I said it. I was just trying to help with an idea. All right, Ryan, don't get all in your feelings. Holy shit. Z, hope you enjoyed the Michael Carter pickup. That's all we're getting. Roll Philly is actually hilarious. That's why I like Roll Philly. He gives me a lot of shit. He doesn't like a lot of my takes, but he is funny as fuck. You think so, Roll Philly? Oh, man. Michael Carter. You want Myles Garrett? Hope you enjoy Michael Carter. That's funny. That is funny. All right, I'm getting out of here. I'm sick of this shit. I got a bunch of stuff to do. It's the bye week. You know what? When you're in my world, let me just walk you guys through something. When you're in my world and you cover the Eagles and you work 7 days a week and you got games on Sunday and you're doing all these different things, you know, all the people in my life, my fiance, my family, my brother, my sister, they all like collectively plan my bye week for me. It's like, okay, Xander is a bye week. Time to load up the schedule for him on the weekend. Time to get everything done that he needs to get done. It's the bye week. I would like to sit my ass on the couch and watch football. But no. I can't do that. Good night. We'll see you Sunday, breaking that Garrett trade to the Eagles, Xander. Eduardo, I would be happy to be online. If the Eagles trade for Myles Garrett on Sunday, I will literally stream all day. I will stream all day. Yeah, Roll Philly, I'm ready for that. I'd rather be occupied by the kids, though. I mean, if they give me shit, that's fine. When you got dumb shit, it's just like, holy God. Christopher Michael. That's a hilarious comment. Christopher Michael, that's classic. All right, thanks everybody for all the love today. All right. A lot of good commentary. The losers of the day. Who are the losers of the day today? I'm putting number 1, Twiz. Dude's in Delulu land. Number 2, B-Pump. All right, that's third. That's the second loser. Who's the third loser? I'm going to go J-Mac today. Talking about Andrew Berry like he's Howie Roseman. 3 losers of the day. Twiz, Pumper, and Johnny Mac. Winners of the day. 1, Z. 2, who's the guy? D's News or whatever his name was. And number 3, Myles Garrett. Welcome to Philly, Myles Garrett. Those are your 3 winners. 3 losers. Twiz, Pump, Johnny Mac. 3 winners. Z, D's, and Myles Garrett. Woo! Now we're talking. Now we are talking. Oh, Paparo, you are my honorary 4th loser of the day. Oh, wait. I have an honorary winner and an honorary loser. All right? These you might get crossed off the list. Sorry. Honorary loser is number 4, and it is. Who is it? Stephen Paparo, loser of the day. And our honorary winner of the day is 4 Stig Lord. Boom. I'm writing on a whiteboard if you're wondering what I'm doing over here. I'm writing the winners and the losers of the day. Sig Lord, congratulations on being an honorary winner of the day. Okay? Paparo, congratulations to being an honorary loser of the day. Ryan, I'll make you an honorary loser another time, but you couldn't even qualify for that. Good sip of coffee. Oh, Underdog, you missed a legendary show. Fifth loser is you for waking up late and just tuning in. Underdog, you missed a legendary one. I was erupting on these fools who told me we shouldn't want Myles fucking Garrett. They're trying to keep 3 first-round picks that are going to be 28 to 32 to not get Myles Garrett. I'm out of here. I'm done with the show today. It's Halloween. I hate adults who dress up for Halloween. I got to watch it all day today. I'm going to go on social media. There's going to be a bunch of nerds in costumes. And now I got to listen to all you idiots. Thanks. Now you've really pissed me off for Halloween. Flying Mine, I'm sure you're going out for Halloween. I heard you and Twiz got a date. A Halloween date. Tyler Braswell gives 5 memberships. Thank you, Braswell. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, dog. I appreciate you. All right? I appreciate you. Holy mackerel. I really got to get out of here. Where's my boy, Big Mike? Big Mike, how many goodbyes am I up to today? Twiz, too late, Twiz. Too late, Twizzler. Go get ready for your date with Secunda. What are you dressing up as? Wendy Wu? What are you dressing up as, Twiz? Huh? What's the costume of the night, Twiz? You goofy? Oh, man. Remember to turn the stove on. I don't turn the stove on. Not a problem for me, Big Trag. All right. Why I got to go with Twiz? Flying Mine, that's who I grouped you with. All right. You and the Twizzler are going out tonight for Halloween. You're dressed as who? Flying Mine, who you dressed as? Who you dressed as? Netanyahu? Who you dressed as, Secunda? Benjamin Netanyahu? Oh, man. Who are you going as, Secunda? Oh, man. Let me get out of here before I start pissing people off too much. Twiz and Secunda, y'all are out of here. I love how Twiz started crying. I wouldn't go as modern day Hitler. That's mine. I don't know who you'd go as. I was just messing with you, trying to get a response, and it appears it worked. Brandon, don't play me like that, dude. Brandon, don't be putting any of those red emojis on there like that. All right? Please, don't do it. Chuck Hutton says he met his wife on Halloween. Now that, folks, for those of you who are not married or who are looking for a wife, maybe you're not, all right? But for those of you looking for a wife, I would urge you to not follow my boy Chuck's lead. Chuck, I love you, and I'm sure your wife is amazing, and I'm sure your marriage and your family is phenomenal. Do not follow the lead of Mr. Chuck Hutton. Finding your wife on Halloween is what I would call a bad idea. 35 years ago might have been a little different. Might be the only thing that's saving you there, Chuck, is that it was 35 years ago. All right. Rumor is Sig Lord's going to find his wife on Halloween. Wild Bear's a girl. She's like, wait, why? I'm going out tonight to find a husband. Oh, are you, Wild Bear? Oh, are you? Well, take my advice. Take my advice, Wild Bear. Don't do it. Don't do it. Twiz says this is a Mark Holmes delusion. Twiz, I never said I thought we were getting him. I said it's a no-brainer to send the house for the guy. In fact, they're 2-6. What you have to do, Twiz, is make the offer so good that the dumbass owner, Jimmy Haslam, steps in again, just like he did for Deshaun Watson. Step in. Step in. The deal is too good. Myles Garrett to the Philadelphia Eagles. But here's Twiz. No, we don't want Myles. We actually need the picks. We need the picks. Wild Bear, good stuff. All right. Big Mike, what's my goodbye count? I'm about to say it again. Quote me right, bozo. Okay, Twizzler. Here's Bob Brown Zander. If I'm Haslam, I'd trade Garrett for Howie. Yeah, I'm not doing that if I'm the Eagles. Picks mean nothing if you draft like shit. So you think they're going to send Barry back to the... I don't want that guy. He fucking stinks. I just got done telling you how much he stinks. Guy's living up the reputation of Roseman still. Dolphins just fired their GM. I don't know what they're waiting on the head coach. Wait, you know what's interesting about that? Is that he might have been trying to trade some people. Does this change whether we could get Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips? Let me text John real quick. I'm going to text John. Say, does this help or hurt a potential trade for Chubb or Phillips? In my opinion, it hurts. Yeah, Garrett equals a dynasty, but Twiz doesn't want that. Twiz wants to be a middler. That's what I'm going to start calling Twiz. He's a middler. He's like in the middle of a seesaw. Twiz is the Mr. Middle. Mr. Middle, Twiz. That's right. It's like Aton. You're Mr. Middle. Mr. Middle, Papa, Twizzler. It's either a fire sale or they're trading nobody. Twiz says, I'd give my left nut for Garrett, you buffoon. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you would, Twiz. Don't you got a hot date in about an hour with John Secunda? Who knows where I pulled that line from? The only movie I'll ever quote. All right? The only movie I'll ever quote. I'm waiting for John to answer me. Let's see what he says. He should answer soon, unless he's out. I've never seen somebody have more honey-do list than John. Trade a first-round pick for Kyle Pitts. Lord Zed, let me add you to the list of losers today. First-round pick for Kyle Pitts? I wouldn't trade a 3 for Kyle Pitts. Yeah, let me trade a first-round pick for Kyle Pitts. Lord, wake up. Please, wake up from your nap, from your slumberland. Chubb would be fantastic. Quantum, I'm not sure if it's I think them firing the GM is either going to make that easy or it's going to make that hard. But think about it. Is an interim GM going to be allowed to make these types of trades? Thank you, underdog. Thank you. The Cleveland Browns have way more use for 3 firsts than they do for Myles Garrett. Oh, look. Why am I not surprised? Underdog, who has a working, functional brain like some of you don't, it's about prying them away from the Browns. And Sig Lord, the reason he was one of my winners today, brought up the real issue. If you're the owner, you want the picks, but do you trust the GM to make the picks? That's why Andrew Berry's holding on to him. It's not because he thinks they're going to win soon, like John was trying to tell me. Browns aren't going to win soon. Browns aren't going to win soon. He's holding on because he knows he's cooked anyway. Like HKP said, and Sig Lord brought up. That's the decision for the owner. Twiz is still crying. I've never seen somebody cry so much. Boy, you really are Secunda today. Actually, Secunda doesn't really cry. He kind of trolls. I got a new name for Twiz. It's TJ. Twiz, you are now TJ. All right? You are now TJ. Twiz. TJ. 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 Fine, I got you, bro. You're a goofy, but you don't cry. I do agree with that. And what John's typing, I'm waiting to see what he's saying. John says, hard to tell. Depends on the marching orders from Ross. May want to press pause or tell him to sell. Exactly what I was thinking. As part of the deal, Howie should offer to make the draft. That's classic, Dirty Air. That is classic. TJ, don't your hens need tending to or something? Mayan. This is why I love the guy. He doesn't care what anybody says to him. He just doubles down on his takes. I love it. Flying Mine, I respect it. I do. I respect it. I respect somebody that puts their foot in the sand and stays there. Xander, you're 4.5 goodbyes so far today. Once I get the 5, I'm out of here. Once I get the 5, I'm out of here. Yeah, Yepa says, what are they winning? The toilet bowl? They ain't even winning that. Even TJ would tell you that. All right? Even TJ would admit that. I'm done. I am absolutely done. Yes, underdog, that is allowed. It would take some maneuvering, but underdog, the cap hits aren't even crazy. The cap hits aren't even crazy. Oh, shit. Cooking on the Hexclad. You know, it's crazy, Rico. I actually know what that is. I got an ad for that once on Instagram, and I commented on it. Believe me, you need to retarget this ad. I am the wrong target audience. This ad is falling on deaf ears. Looks like you got a great pan, though. Looks like you got a good pan there, Hexclad. You might want to refresh your ad parameters. All right? It's reaching the wrong people. Holy shit. All right, we get to watch the Sixers tonight. I get to watch VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey tonight. And Quentin Grimes, for that matter, who's playing like a stud. I'm out of here. I am out of here. I agree, underdog. I'm with you. I'm out of here. Big Mike, whatever the counter is up to, you let me know. TJ, take a lap. Secunda, good rebound today. Congratulations to myself, to Dees, to Myles Garrett, and to Siglord for being the winners of the day. I'll add a 5th honorary underdog. And I'm sorry to TJ, to Pumper, to Johnny Mack, and to Papara. for being the losers of the day. Love all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.